All right, so I think the stream thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, making ZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting podcast episode. That being my ZardCast episode 133. Yeah, I need to quit having YouTube Studio be opening a weirdo screen where I'm always guessing that number every time I start off this podcast though. But Steven, how's it going, man?
It is going good. Kind of a boring week, all things considered.
I get boring in the sense
What?
of you didn't have much going on in your personal life. You're talking about boring in terms of news. Like, what kind of boring are we talking about here?
Boring in terms of personal life, and honestly, we're on the cusp of a lot of news, but we've had a lot of games release. We'll talk about it, but we've had a lot of games release. I just haven't gotten to them yet, so they're not gonna talk about most of them today.
Okay. No, yeah, because we have a whole bunch of gaming news and stuff to talk about in the sense of what is to become, because we're obviously in that little bit of that ebb and flow area. Like, we're the calm before the storm is what I'm looking for, is where we're currently at, because we know we have all these gaming presentations about to come up. Literally June 1st is tomorrow from the point that we're live broadcasting this episode, and with it being June, it's gaming Christmas all over again. This is like one of the personal highlights for me personally that I always look forward to every year. I mean, yes, when E3 used to be a really big thing though, it was always a phenomenal event, just sitting down and watching all the different showcases from all the different gaming publishers, the first parties, also seeing your third party stuff, everything else in between though. So a big highlight for the show tonight is just going to be us going through each one of those shows. So we got the State of Play, we got the Xbox, the Summer Game Fest, and anything else we might sprinkle in between. I know there will be a Nintendo Direct, probably happen some point this month. So we're going to go ahead and throw our predictions for that. Even if that Direct doesn't come this week, maybe it might come next week, or maybe some point later in June. We'll just throw out all the predictions here in this one big old episode, though. We got that to talk about. We also have the Steam Deck actually going up in price. So, gaming ain't cheap no more. It ain't cheap no more. So we'll talk about that. And then we got a few other little side quest topics to talk about. Everything from, shoot, it just slipped my mind. I don't know what I was thinking about for a second, though. I know, Steven, you happen to be playing through Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. I think in the last episode, I'm trying to remember, we were just talking about it. The game hadn't came out the last time we did the episode, like 2 weeks ago. Okay, yeah, so we got to talk about it now that you got your hands on it. So I know you got a story to tell about that game. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fence, I had my hands on GoldenEye 007. I say GoldenEye 007 First Light. I really want to call it GoldenEye for all sakes and purposes, though. But I've been enjoying the heck out of that game, so I got to give my 2 cents up on that. And we have a few other topics here and there, though. Like, they dropped some new games on the NSO and such, though. And a few other things that we'll kind of go through and just highlight here as the show progresses on. I know Nintendo dropped out a new mobile game as well, though. And then Dragon Quest had that anniversary event stream, so they dropped out 2 new games. So we'll give our 2 cents on that as well, though. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole docket and slate, though. So we're going to go ahead and get up in it, though, because I know it's going to be a jam-packed episode, though. I normally would say let's go ahead and jump straight over into the pop culture segment stuff. But I ain't got nothing in the pop culture in the general sense. But I do have a little bit of Marvel stuff I wanted to go through and talk about. So we'll swing it that way first. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into the Marvel news. Alrighty, Steven. You know what? I just happened to go through and finally managed to sit down and actually watch all of what was Daredevil Season 2. And my goodness, that show was something truly to behold. I know I was kind of alluding to it about me giving my 2 cents on that series. since the inception of them actually either announcing it and slash or when it was actually airing with the episode 1 and then onward. Though I remember watching the first season, it was roughly around this point last year is when they aired that first season, and then they kind of left it on that really bad cliff, a good cliffhanger but a bad one, since I really wanted to see more though. And gosh, man, if you know anything about this character from watching like anything from the Netflix series or whatever they happen to show off in the first part of the season before going into the second season, oh my gosh, it was such a delight to hold. If you know anything else about Marvel in terms of like the other vigilantes that are out there, people like Punisher, Jessica Jones, and such like that, they were pulling characters left and right and incorporating them into the series in such a love letter and such, where I was like, you know what? I actually like everything that they were doing up in that. And this series wasn't afraid about pulling any punches whatsoever. The action was pretty consistent. Obviously, this whole second half of the arc, it was kind of like them working from the shadows. Like, at least Daredevil, for the most part, him and his alter ego and stuff, like, during the day being a lawyer, at night being a Daredevil, he was kind of, doing his same old stuff. But by the time he got into the second season, like, he had to stay off the streets, both Daredevil at night and then also him being a lawyer by day. He also had to stay hidden. So it's like, he couldn't be a win for, he couldn't win for lose for the most part. Like, Fisk had that man tied up in every sense. And it's so hard for me to talk about this in greater detail without going over too much with spoilers, because I could easily spoil season 1. And obviously season 2 that I just managed to finish out, though. But if you're looking for a good show, obviously you don't have to worry about watching too much of anything else outside of maybe if you want to watch the original Netflix series. That way you're just accustomed to the character, because it's the same actors for both him, Kingpin and whatever, though. If you want to do that, good, because it'll help you out a little bit, though. But outside of that, it's not like you got to learn or see a whole bunch of other Marvel shows or anything like that. So I always found him to be like one of the more interesting Marvel characters, because the fact that he's just a pure vigilante that's usually bent on vengeance, but he starts to have a little bit more of a character arc, and he starts to get a little bit, I mean, he's still justified in terms of like what he's trying to do and try to kick Fisk out of New York and stuff, like him being the mayor and all, but he starts to have a little bit more of a character arc in terms of like, okay, I'm not going to just be like bent on this revenge anymore. Like, I can be cool, cunning, and calculating in terms of what I'm doing, though, but I just ain't got like a whole bunch of anger running down my veins like how I used to in the past. And it kind of shows from start to finish, though. But that final episode, though, I was standing. Like, Steven, have you ever watched a show and it got so good where you actually started standing and started walking back and forth, or like pacing in the room or something like that? That's how I was on that last episode. It felt so good.
I've watched a Nintendo Direct that kind of gave me that reaction, but like, it's
Yeah.
It was K. Rool getting revealed was like, holy shit. That and Mario Maker 2. I was like, holy fucking shit. I will say, when I was watching what was it, No Way Home, and like, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man shows up, theater was erupting.
Mm-hmm.
It was, everyone was clapping. Like, I've clapped with people. I've never stood up. I've never like gotten up out of my seat and was like, holy shit.
No, yeah. So,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I get what you're talking about, because I don't know, it was something about that. Like, I've been waiting for him. I mean, yes, Fisk's been thrown into jail so many times though, but seeing all the crap that has played out, at least within these 2 seasons right over here, I was about ready for them to throw that man behind bars. Like, how much crap you can able to get away with just because you have a crap ton of money. I know the dude is strong though. Like,
Well,
the
the
dude
system is
almost,
corrupt.
I know it's corrupt, and it's crazy because this man almost died like 2 different times before we got to this final episode. I was like, I know, and I was like, oh goodness.
Okay, so I haven't seen it, but like, doesn't he get like shot in Hawkeye or something? I've seen spoilers.
So that's what kind of put him down for the time being. His wife started running some operations while he was out of commission. He slowly started to get his bearings back within that Echo series. If anybody happened to watch that one, that one's pretty good though too. He started getting his bearings a little bit more, and then he's back in full force by the time this Daredevil season comes out, or the season 1 of the Disney Plus series. Then he got his full bearings back. He fully recovered. Whew. So yeah, so honestly, some good stuff. At least the Marvel itch has been scratched for now. I think the next thing I want to watch is the Punisher special because that's like it's almost an hour. It's like 40, somewhere between 40 minutes and an hour long, roughly in terms of the runtime though. But I want to watch that because I have a strange sneaking suspicion they'll either tease or there'll be like some very finely laid out loose ends that I feel like might connect in a super minor way. It's not going to be nothing extremely important, but I have some gut feelings that it's going to connect with the newest Spider-Man movie in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. No, that
I'm
and
sure it will.
maybe a tiny bit from Daredevil. I don't know. I feel like he might pop. I don't know. I'm kind of going on a tangent though, but Punisher a little bit more so though. So we will see though. But Steven, was there anything else you want to say on that, or anything else Marvel related in general?
Where the fuck is the Doomsday trailer?
I I mean, we're still waiting on that because I mean, we're almost in June now, Steven.
Yeah.
And July, I can't remember exactly what day, but it'll literally be next month, basically, for all sex and purposes, when the new Spider-Man movie comes out. And by the time that movie comes out, at the latest, when that movie comes out, we should have that legit first trailer. It can't be no later than that. Otherwise, they'll be showing it in the theater in anticipation, like in the previews, right before you watch the movie.
Well,
So
they could
now it's
do
on
that.
now it's on a deadline. It's either gonna happen some point this month or in the first couple of weeks of July. Like we're literally within like the last 6 weeks that they're gonna have to show this thing now. You can't wait any
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't really wait any longer. That's true. Like you wait any longer, you risk it getting leaked like the brand new day trailer did. I don't know if you remember that. It like leaked in like really shitty quality a couple months ago, the brand new day trailer.
I think yeah.
And that was real. Like people thought it was fake, tried to debunk it, but then, the actual trailer came out and boom, it was real.
No, yeah. So hopefully it doesn't get to that point because, well, there's already some things floating around because of the fact that it was some of those like was it not Comic Con, but
There was merch leaks for Doomsday showing some characters and like this and that.
no, but the thing
Yeah.
I'm thinking about was like it was a
It was
conference for
It was
like
concept
movies
art.
it was like a conference for movies like people just talking about movies in general or whatever though, and they had like an audience screener or something like that where people were able to kind of see a teaser trailer, but only if you were there in person. It was like a month or a month and a half ago or
Oh
something
yeah, it
like
was
that.
like Shang-Chi fighting. Am I still allowed to say it? No, sorry. Should I
No,
say it?
no, you shouldn't say
Okay.
nothing. But
Okay,
yeah,
fine.
that was the last little thing. So if you happen to get the he said she said kind of thing, that's the only thing that's been going out there. But no, like legit, like you were able to actually like pull up any footage, like because they'd be really quick about that, man, it's taking that down. But that's about it. That's been circulating right around now. Outside of the little teasers we've been getting here and there, like like when they showed Captain America or whatever though, like in the house, and then
Yeah.
there was like a few other scenarios though, but outside of those, I mean, that's all we got.
I
So
guess the main thing would be the full reveal of Doctor Doom is what I'd be expecting next. Because like they really haven't fully revealed him yet.
yeah, yeah, that would be the next thing. It would be the next thing. I don't know. Here's hoping. I mean, literally, now that I'm looking at the clock, within the next 3 podcast episodes, as long as we stay on pace and no delays happen or anything like that, within the next 3 episodes, one of those three, so it's episode 134, 5, or 6, we will talk about the trailer in one of those episodes. If it doesn't happen in one of those 3 episodes, something's going wrong. I don't know what's going on, but something's going wrong. All
They will
right.
pay.
Yeah. All right. So that's all I got to talk about, at least within the Marvel news. So now we're gonna go ahead and switch on over to the next major part of the show, that being what we've been playing. I'm still in a dream, all righty, Steven. Well, it's been a somewhat kind of busy past couple of weeks though, and I've been playing some good gaming goodness. At least, well, mine hasn't happened until recently when the GoldenEye 007 First Light game came out, which came out like
Golden.
literally in the middle of last week. So I only had my hands on the game for about almost 4 days now. But Steven, you had your hands on Yoshi the Mysterious Book for much longer though. So we'll go ahead and talk about that game first. So how are you liking the game? Is it living up to your expectations? Have you managed to beat the game yet? Is it too much of a baby game, or is it somewhere in between? Like what is Nintendo doing with this
So
game?
I've had my fair share of conversations with you about this game, and like if you go into it expecting it to be a Yoshi's Island game, you're not gonna like it. But if you go into it realizing that it is a new type of Yoshi game, I think it's pretty good. I think it's like it's extremely charming. Like it's got so much life to it, like so many unique interactions with the enemies. Like every enemy has and every enemy does like a unique thing when it interacts with another enemy in that habitat. Basically, Zard, the best way I could describe the game is that you go in and it's kind of like a sandbox level where you go in and you have to find basically every interaction with that enemy to like research details on them. So like, every enemy, it's like when you eat it, it will be like, oh, it tastes sweet or it tastes sour or, can't swallow it. When you ground pound each enemy, it does a unique thing. Maybe some enemies you throw them in mud, they'll have a unique interaction, or if you get them wet, or if and then there will obviously be like a primary objective for each level that like quote unquote lets you beat the level. But
Hmm.
like still, it's not the point. It's not a point A to point B game. It's just, doing all of these objectives gets you stars and like fills out the book. And then those stars unlock more levels. And by the time I beat World 1, I had access to up to World 5. So there was a lot of choice in how I could go about the game. How like what I could do first, which was really nice because it was like, okay, I can go discover this. And the 100% journey for the game is really fun because it's like actually cryptic. There's a lot of these puzzles with certain enemies where you have to like get them in specific places and have them do specific things and kind of set it up. You kind of got to like set up all your pieces in place to get some of these. Like there's a hint system in game where you're the equivalent of coins. Like when you're collecting coins in the game, you could use 20 coins to give you a hint at what an objective you haven't completed is. So, my usually I'll get as many as I can and then I'll use the hints to find out like what I got to do next. And even then sometimes it will be cryptic and just give me a clue on what I'm supposed to do. So, if you're going through it just very simple, yeah, you can make the argument like it's a very easy game. Just you're just going simply for beating the game. It's not that difficult, which I haven't beaten the game yet because I am taking my time with it and collecting as much as I can. But the game itself is really, yeah, it's breathtaking really. First of all, I haven't even mentioned yet, obviously I'd say the most defining thing about this game is its visual style. It is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. Woolly World was really nice. I loved the style of that, but this game, I argue it has a better style. It's going for like the hand painted or like drawn book style to it, where the world isn't necessarily like made out of arts and crafts, but everything has got like this watercolor aesthetic to it, and it really just makes the worlds come to life. Like Zard, the borders of the level are like the borders of the book, and it will be
Now
like
that threw
sketchy.
me off because I was you were streaming the game in Discord at one point, and I was looking at it. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait, you hit all the way to the edge of like you were going from left to right, like almost like any
Yeah.
traditional platformer, and it just stopped. And I was like, wait,
Well,
no
yeah, it's like
flagpole, no chunking a baby Mario through like a ring of flowers and passing them on to
well,
another Yoshi, or no like hitting the flagpole, no nothing. I was like, what is this?
no, because it's a hub world. It's a different type of game. Which yeah, it's certainly unexpected. It's not what I expected for them to make the next Yoshi game with about, but I'm really enjoying it because like, let's be honest, Zard. It's kind of like the fucking Star Fox conundrum all over again. Every Yoshi game they've made has just been Yoshi's Island again. You right?
Uh,
Come on. Yoshi's Island DS, Yoshi's New Island, and then Yoshi's Woolly World has a very similar gameplay style to Yoshi's Island, except you don't have Baby Mario. And then Yoshi's Crafted World is just Yoshi's Woolly World again. So really every game has just been derivative of Yoshi's Island in how you go about the levels, having the red coins, having the fucking flowers, having your other collectibles. While this game, there are the smiley flowers, but like all they do is, to my knowledge, they unlock stuff in the post game. So they're really not even that important besides like filling out the book.
So you're just going through the whole entire level and trying to complete an objective. Once you complete
You
an objective, it just pulls you out of the level, or I guess you
No, it
just,
doesn't.
or you
It will
just
say it
you
will
just decide to go out of the level at that point.
yeah, it will say you have completed the objective. In the menu, you can select end exploration, but if you'd like, you can keep exploring, which I usually keep exploring. The only grievance I have is that some objectives, some of the some of those like side objectives, some of them are a little annoying and where you'll have to like restart the level to get another chance. Like there was this cloud level I was playing where
Oh.
you're like riding on clouds, and in order to get all of the clouds you need to like kind of play the level perfectly. And yeah, and it really like bewildered me because I was like, oh, I thought this game was gonna be easy, but some of these challenges, if you go out of your way to get everything in this game, it's pretty challenging once in a while. It's like Kirby's Epic Yarn in that regard, which I've gone on record saying that that's what I like. I like Kirby's Epic Yarn because it's an easy game, it's a cozy game, but if I go out of my way, I can make it really worth my while. And I don't know if this game's actually going to have like good completion rewards. I don't know anything about the completion. Like this game isn't perfect, obviously. Like it tries to do boss battles, but they're not really that amazing.
Yeah, because I was about to
Like
say you don't
I
get hurt as Yoshi in this game, so how could you
yeah,
really?
well,
Uh,
like you take control of certain enemies. Like you take control of this drill enemy and you like drill into Bowser Jr. and Kamek riding a little vehicle. So they're more like fun little like action set pieces more than like actual challenging bosses, obviously. There is one level where you can actually just die, by the way,
hmm.
where like it will, if you get hit by this enemy with a scythe, it will send you to the beginning of the level and you have to collect all these keys again. So yes, there is one level so far where you can actually just die, which was funny to me. And I've kind of, the main gameplay loop is exactly what I expected. You go in, you research these enemies, you go out. Some special events occur in certain levels where, like, let's just say a shy guy will appear inside of the Crazy Daisy habitat, and then you can go back to the Crazy Daisy habitat and find some new stuff. So over time, the levels kind of expand in a way with certain levels. So it gives you incentive to go back and like explore more and find more secrets. It is certainly a game that had, it kind of makes sense. It's a game all about research, so there's a lot of interesting things to find. And it's got better music than Crafted World. I've gone on record. I fucking hate the music in Yoshi's Crafted World. The music in this game is very relaxing, very just like Woolly World. Very nice music while I'm just trying to explore these levels. Because sometimes you can be in these levels for like 30 minutes if you're trying to get everything. The marketing did a really bad job explaining this game because I didn't even know this game wasn't just a linear platformer until I bought it. But honestly, now that I have it, I kind of like what they did. Um, it has a lot of content too. I'm on World 5 and I looked it up because I was curious. The game has about either 10 or 11 worlds.
And each one having how many levels roughly?
About like 6 levels approximately.
Oh, so like 6 times 11, 66 levels. Not,
Yeah, and,
not
and you
bad.
spend a decent amount of time, and like I said, you can go back to old levels to find like new little events too, kind of like the comets in like Mario Galaxy, if I had to give a better example.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a good game. Like it is. I'm not gonna go out of my way saying like this is the fucking best Yoshi game because Yoshi's Island is a fucking masterpiece. But like right now where I'm at, I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10 because it's not necessarily like a game that wows me, but it's a game where I'm just playing it and I have a smile on my face. It's like, oh, that's cool. I like that. Not every game has to be super action packed. Obviously, this is more of a if you look at this game as like an elaborate puzzle game, you're gonna maybe learn to like it a lot more.
Yeah, and I think the only thing with me, at least looking at this, and it's not so much like this specific game, but it's more like the Yoshi series overall. Obviously, I felt like the one that they obviously did back in the Super Nintendo era with Yoshi's Island, like that was them like first figuring out. I was like, okay, we can kind of do something with Yoshi outside of like what that one that was on the NES. That was like a completely different game. But the one
It
on
was
the
a
Super,
puzzle game,
yeah. So
yeah.
the one on the SNES with Yoshi's Island, they were like, all right, we're gonna do something with this character, and we're gonna make it its own series. And they thought about that because platforms were just big around that time. It just made sense. So obviously, a lot of us grew up really loving that game. Then they did something very similar with 64. Maybe not as good as Super Nintendo, but in all intents and purposes, it's still pretty solid. The 64 version. Then you move beyond that, and that's where Yoshi started to kind of have an identity crisis and started to like change his. He had his midlife crisis, and he started doing some different stuff. That's where I felt like the game started getting a little bit easier, and it started in terms of the look and the presentation, it started to gravitate towards younger audiences, and I think that's just where Nintendo's kind of at with the Yoshi IP in general. Outside of him looking edgy in a Smash Bros. Game, I mean, it just happens to be like one of those games that might be catered towards younger audiences, or there's people like you, Steven, that know what they're kind of getting, and you're just gonna have like a chill experience. It's not gonna be that incredibly challenging or whatever though. But it's important for companies, especially like Nintendo, to have games like this. So I can understand why it's certainly a thing. I just know it's probably not going to be necessarily for me, but I can appreciate what it brings to the table for other people. I just happen to know that
Yeah.
the Yoshi series is just not going to be a thing for me no more. I mean, I can still go back and play Yoshi's Island for like the 10th time if I need it though, but it just is what it is at this point.
Yeah, here's what I'll say though, Zard. I definitely do not think this game is like worth like skipping out on completely, but I also don't think $70 was a smart choice. Come on, guys. Like it has a lot of content, yes, but like $70 is a little steep for a fucking Yoshi game. I know it's $60 digitally, but come on, physical copies are like the only reason I buy games nowadays.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think a lot of people got turned off by the price, but if this game goes on like a good sales art for like, let's just say maybe eventually gets as low as 30, pick it up. It's a fun game just to chill with.
Hmm.
Like
Okay.
maybe do like a level a day type of deal. Like you just go in, do a level. And I know you don't usually go out of your way to 100% games unless it's like a,
Oh,
you're already
it
there
has to be one
anyways.
I have to really love. For example, like in
Yeah.
more recent memory, it was literally Mario Odyssey being one game, the other game being Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like it has to be like killer for me to do something like that.
Yeah, so it depends on the person, obviously. I think this game will definitely fit a very specific niche, and it's gonna kind of go down as one of the hidden gems of the Switch 2 lineup. Because I'm not seeing that many people talk about it, but the people I see talking about it, they do like it.
Hmm. Okay. Not too bad. Not too bad. All things considering, though, because I was wondering how you felt about this game, but now I have a pretty good idea of what the game kind of stands for. Now that you kind of broke it down here for me, though, and you probably help somebody else out there as well, though. All right.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's just the best description I could think is it's like Mario 64 meets Pokemon Snap. For Pokemon Snap, you're going and getting all of these little objectives, doing all of hitting Pikachu with an apple or like taking a picture in a specific way to get specific amounts of points. It's just kind of looking. The game gives you an environment, and it's like, all right, push it to its limits type of deal. And it's got like very similar sized like worlds to like Mario 64, just bite-sized little worlds with like collectibles to find. But yeah, I wish Nintendo had a demo out for this game. Go try the demo at your local Best Buy so maybe you could actually understand what the game is.
Oh, you
Good
know what?
job.
Now that you mentioned that, I guess next time when I do roll into, it was funny because I went into Best Buy to get the 007 game, but next time I'm in there and I got some actual time, I'm not trying to get in and out real quick. I might mess around with it. We will see. We will see. All righty. Well, Now that we got that out of the way, that's the game you've been playing as of late, though. But a game I've been playing really recently was 007 First Light. Look, I've been really looking forward to this game since it was roughly around this point. I think it was last year where they kind of first kind of showed it off and said, "Hey, we're working on a game like this." And I was like, "Wait a minute. It's been a while since I played a 007 game. Like the last one I think I played was like back on the Wii. Like there was one that was on the Wii, and everybody and their mama knows about the GoldenEye game on the N64 one. So I mean, I loved it whenever they actually managed to brought it over to NSO. Like we had some, I think we had some NSO verses, or just us just going through and just playing through it with our friend groups and such though. But
Yeah.
man, that's truly a game to behold though. It's like definitely one of the iconic N64 games though. So anyway, between all of that and the movies, I am a James Bond fan. I really do like the character and such though. So whenever they came out and said, "Hey, we're making a new game," but it's not going to be based on the one that the James Bond that we know almost in current time within the movies, but it's more like an origin story, like him being like drastically younger, like him kind of getting his feet wet and right out the door, fresh into the program, and him being a spy. I was like, that is interesting. I'm curious to see how well they can play that out, though. And obviously, they gave it over to the studio that is known to make the Hitman games, which I'm not necessarily super well. I mean, I've seen trailers and stuff here and there, though. I know they brought those games over to like the Nintendo Switch and that such. But I wasn't just like looking at a Hitman game to be like, all right, I'm just gonna play this though. But now I'm like, I can understand why they gave it to him though, because the way how they tackle and give out a lot of different ways how you're able to run through these missions, it makes perfect sense because it's open in the sense that you can almost tackle this in any kind of way, shape, form, or fashion that you really want to do. Because I was going through, for example, I think there was like there was like a nightclub scene and there was like a mansion one or whatever though. But there's like different ways how sometimes in order to get to your end game, like the main thing that's gonna progress the story onward, there could be like three or four different things that you might be able to do in order to get to that same conclusion. So, for example, there was like like I was trying to sneak into the mansion or whatever though. They got like some people like right outside that front door. They weren't going to move an inch or whatever, though. So it's like, okay, you got to sneak in there one or two different ways. There was like a path to the left and there was a path to the right. The path to the left, you needed to kind of somehow like either start a fire, smoke them out, make somebody get sick. Like I already mentioned like three or four things you could do right there to get the bystander to move out of the way to where you could have hopped over the ledge, crawled around on the left-hand side, and then sneak into the window that way. Or option two, I think I went over there to the far right, and then there was like two different guards. I had to turn on the sprinkler to get the guard to kind of go over there, move out of the way, out of this like little corridor section, so that way I can sneak in there, hop over a ledge, and then hop down over a ledge, and then kind of shimmy with my hands down low, sneak all the way around, hop up back over the corner, keep my body kind of close to the wall, and then climb up a pipe that got me up to another stage, and then hop through a window. I just like how open it is, so it's going to actually add to a little bit of replay value. So if I choose to kind of play on like maybe a slightly harder difficult, because there's like an easy, there's like a medium, and then there's a harder version of you going through and playing through this game though. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I could see myself going back and trying to actually thoroughly enjoy myself with a different run on this, because I think the beat it from start to finish, it takes about, I want to say 15, 20 hours at most, depending on how much you're trying to do through some of your runs though. But I felt like they definitely nailed down James Bond as the characters. Yes, they kind of changed some of the characters that are kind of surrounding him a little bit differently. There's some weird people out there on Twitter, Steven. Like, I don't know why though that some people brought a DEI or whatever. Forget about that mess.
Okay.
The story
I
itself
think
is solid.
I think because Deborah Wilson's in the game, which is like that you know who Deborah Wilson is, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, just because you do some little minor difference, at the end of the day, it's still a game. And the most iconic person or the most important person you have to make sure you nail down is James Bond himself. Everybody else around him, you could do some slight tweaks and changes. That's just what kind of makes media unique. Like even when I'm thinking about other stuff, like imagine how many different things they changed with the Spider-Man IP. I mean, not every villain or
Yeah,
every hero is exactly the same one to one, especially when you look at. I mean, even Spider-Man himself changes from like a Peter Parker to a Miles Morales. There's a lot of different ways you can kind of spin it off, but keep some of the basic core principles the play the same at heart. So that's the reason why I'm not crazy about whatever some of these weird Twitterist people were bringing up in terms of some of this arguments and stuff. I did not have an issue with this game whatsoever, though. And I like all the gadgets and stuff they give you because they start you off pretty simple. It's like it lets you like temper with devices, Steven. So like imagine if you need to get someone to move or get out the way or such though. Your Q watch is what it's called. You can literally like hack into stuff. Imagine like making a laptop go off or whatever, or messing with the
yeah,
air conditioning and stuff like that. You can get people to kind of move left or right out of your way, or in a sticky situation where they can't necessarily see you, and then you can take them down and stuff. So yeah, at the forefront, stealthing around is at the forefront of this game. Like stealth is the name of the game. However, if you're not necessarily the best at stealth, no worries because you can still, put up a decent fight and be able to actually not that button. You're actually able to put up a fight and try to, savage the situation that you're currently in. So as long as you manage to knock out the 2 or 3 different people before they happen to call for backup, you can control. It can say like, "Oh, the area is back under control," and you can go ahead and progress on with whatever you wanted to do next. So it is forgiven in some elements, though. I'll tell you what's not forgiven, Steven. When the mission objective goes from just like going around instead of just sneaking around into like a forbidden area, that prompt pops up at the top. It pops in all red and says "License to Kill." Oh man, when that prompt comes up, I'm like, oh yes, it's time to get down and gritty with it though. That's when you can pop out your guns, no consequences whatsoever. You can still stealth to a degree depending on how you start off one of those segments, but sometimes they just come out and they just start shooting at you. It's like, all right, at that point, then you're whipping out your pistols, your AKs, or whatever. Though you can whip out a few different gadgets and stuff to kind of disarm people, blind them, whatever you want to do. Especially once you run out of bullets and stuff, you gotta pick up a weapon that somebody else has happened to drop, either that you kill or you just knocked out unconscious or whatever. Though. And you just got to keep pushing forward though. So I feel like they diversified the actions, the low points and stuff like that. Graphically speaking, it's not the most intensive thing out there, but it does look pretty and it just looks solid. Like it doesn't go over the top, but it does what it needs to do to where it kind of gives it that sense of realism and almost feels like you're playing almost the movie game, but you can still tell it's an actual game. But it does feel like you could put the story with this along with like almost any of the other movies that are out there for just 007 in general though. So yeah, I really love that this game from start to finish though. There's a lot of mystery and stuff, just trying to be able to kind of put together everything with the plot points. I won't really dive into that. I don't really want to spoil the game. And two, I'm only like I think I'm a little over the halfway point in this game though. So I can't even fully vouch or say anything about the ending even if I wanted to. But yeah, between that, you have some car chase moments and stuff like that. I feel like it always keeps you on your toes. You just really never know exactly what's going to come out next. And that's the thing I really love about this game. And I think this is probably the next game I feel like that I'm going to probably put up there, Steven, in terms of by the time we get to the end of 2026, in terms of my personal game of the year picks, I feel like this will be a personal contender for me. Because I think so far I got this and I got Monster Hunter Stories 3 for me personally. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say on Gold. Well, almost everything I want to say on GoldenEye 007 First Light. There's one more thing, but do you have anything else you wanted to ask me about, Steven? Because oh shoot, that was a lot of talking.
So like the way I guess I would describe it is like a stealth sandbox, right? Where it's like, yeah, you can stealth, but you can kind of you can get there any way you want. You can like hack what you want and like distract enemies to get away around a certain way.
Yeah, no,
Like stealth sandbox is kind of the way I describe it from what you're telling me. I
yeah,
don't know anything about GoldenEye or like 007, I mean, like the movies or this or that.
yeah.
So like I'm just going off of what you're telling me. It sounds cool though. Like I'll definitely like look into it if I ever have free time.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not a really long game, so it does respect your time. I mean, yes, you're probably gonna get your butt handed to you a couple of times. There were some moments that either I'm running through a stealth part, and the game will punish you if it's a part that you're probably supposed to stealth through. Like there was like at one point I walked into like a room of people. They were like tampering with some servers. I won't go much more further than that because otherwise I might spoil something. But they were messing with some computer related stuff, and it was like a room that had like almost 20 different people up in there, and they all had guns and stuff, or not. Well, some of them had guns, some didn't. But I exposed myself by accident a couple of times, and it was like 5, 7 dudes all surrounding me. I was like, "There's no way I can fist fight myself and get out of this situation." Because by the time you're getting tangled and stuff with one dude, like another dude's about to knock your block off from behind on your six, and it's like, "Oh shoot!" So there's some moments where it's like, you better learn how to stealth at least fairly good, or else you're gonna have a tough time trying to get past this, or at least play it on normal or whatever. Though I don't know how it would be just playing on easy just to get through the story, but yeah, that the way how you said it was like almost an open sandbox. I mean, it's still linear in the sense that you got to get from your point A to your point B, but it's more like how you do it. It's like a maze that gets from A to B. So there's variety and stuff, so you can run it a lot of different ways. But that's
Yeah,
just one of the things about the charm about this game.
yeah, I'll definitely keep it on my radar because from what you're telling me, it does look interesting.
No, yeah, and then that leads me into the last thing I wanted to say about this is I really like the game so much that they were doing like a limited edition thing with the GoldenEye stuff. Like you could have either bought like there's like a controller, and then there's also like the pistol and stuff with a few extra little goodies that you can get off of like the PlayStation Store, because that's where I bought it on PS5. I was almost wanting to get it on Switch too, but obviously they delayed that version a little later on, so I was like, shoot, I need to play this on day one, so I went with the PS5, and I was like, all right, I'm not getting that actual limited edition, but I looked at that controller, and then Santa was like, did you manage to get that thing? It's like, no, not yet. Man, some of these controllers are expensive though. And then I really looked at it, and I was like, dang, this controller is gold in color. I was like, I can't pass up a gold controller. There's just something about those. So I actually did manage to buy that. It showed up in the mail yesterday, so I actually been going through and playing through the game with that controller now. And the game, I mean, that controller looks really nice. It's something about the gold colors and stuff with some of those controllers. Like I have a gold N64, a gold analog 3D controller. I want to go back and get like the gold Wii remote and the gold nunchuk. I think that nunchuk is valued a lot more because it was something with Nintendo Club back in the days how you got that versus just straight up buying it with the Skyward Sword in the day though. But I don't know, something about it though. So I did get that. Now I think my PS5 controller collection's up to 6 controllers, because I have like the white one, the Starlight Blue, the Spider-Man 2, Ghost of Yote, Astrobot, now GoldenEye, 007 First Light, and I actually managed to pick up 2 controllers. It wasn't just that one, Steven. I did also picked up the I don't know what they call it, but it's
Zard,
that, huh?
do you have the Concord one?
Oh heck no! I don't. No.
Ye-
Dear no, heck no. No, I don't like that game, and there was no point of buying a controller for a dead franchise unless I was going to sell it and think I could make some money off of it. That would have been different, but no, I ain't like that. I also got the one that was like the black gradient at the top of the controller, and then it changes to a different color. So it's like half black, half a different color. I did that one with the blue one. It kind of rocks like my Megazord X colors and stuff. That's the other one I managed to get. So yeah, quite a bit of controllers now. I don't need them to release any more, unless they do a Wolverine one, Steven. Then I might have to bite on that one too. Gosh dang it. Please don't. But do but don't. I don't know. That's a really tough situation though. But yeah, outside of that, that's all I wanted to talk about within 007 First Light. Was there any last thing, Steven, on that?
no, that's about it. Seems cool though.
Alrighty. Well, that is it in terms of everything I've been mostly going through and playing. Obviously, I've been playing a little bit of Splatoon stuff on the side, though. But those are the 2 major highlights, I think, for both of us personally within the past couple of weeks, though. So now we're going to move on over to the next major part of the show, that being all of our SUBQUEST topics. All right, Steven. Nintendo managed to put out a brand new mobile game. I think the last mobile game they managed to put out on the market was Fire Emblem Shadows. I remember playing
Yeah.
that one for about an hour or two, and I was like, I don't know what they were doing with this one. No, but this ain't no Fire Emblem Heroes or anything closely similar or akin to the mainline series that we have on all the consoles and some of the handhelds. So I kind of bounced off of that real quick. Never really looked back at it. But now here Nintendo comes, and this is random. I remember when they used to announce this kind of stuff closely tied to their fiscal reportings and such. But I felt like this hit randomly out of the week, and it's called Pictonico, I think. Yeah, Pictonico. Yeah, that's kind of how they said it. It was almost a Japanese trailer. Like all of it was in Japanese, or at least them speaking it and showing it off though. But the game is actually out now, and to the best of my knowledge and ability, it's really based off of like one of the WarioWare mini games, Steven? Kinda
It's
ish.
well, it's basically just WarioWare without Wario. I've heard very like interesting reactions to it. Some people I think it's cool. Some people I've seen some people say like it just feels like kind of out of date in a weird way. I've seen people say.
Hmm.
It's very interesting. I've heard some very interesting things. I heard it's like fine. Like I guess overall I just haven't heard that many people talk about it. Like I didn't even I downloaded it, but I haven't even played it yet. But like I don't know.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask you.
Like
Was did you manage to even mess around with it? I mean, I hadn't
no.
even had the chance to even download it, even mess around with it either, though.
I know it has some weird free to start nonsense where you can pay I think it's like $20 to get all the content.
Hmm.
Because you have to buy like volumes of mini games. So you buy like mini game packs.
Okay.
But yeah, it basically just looks like less charming WarioWare.
Yeah, because the whole premise of this one, it's a little weird though, because it's literally just based on you, you know, opening up the phone app, right? And it imports in or takes pictures of like a lot of different people, things, or whatever you happen to have on your phone gallery and stuff. And it just turns them into like a bunch of random old mini games. I feel like something like this is just basically there to just kind of pass the time along. Like I don't think like people are gonna get like superly heavily invested into this game though. But I feel like it's just something like, oh, imagine you waiting on the bus stop or something like that. You're trying to get to class or something, and you're just like, oh, I'm just trying to kill a little bit of time. I feel like maybe you can open this up and just have like some goofy fun. Or maybe, I guess, if you happen to take a picture of either your friend or your family member, and then it's like, hey, check you out in this one little mini game. I guess you can get like a few, craps and giggles out of it for a little bit, and then you just kind of move on to the next thing. It's kind of the vibe I'm kind of getting out of it. Is that kind of the same for you?
Yeah, no, it looks like interesting. So like you just feed a bunch of photos to it, and it like it like scans the faces out of them. And from what I've seen, like the face scanning is actually pretty like well done. Like it scans it well because it looks for specific angles. So like I'm looking at it. So volume 1 you can purchase for 7.99. Volume 2 is 5.99. Okay? And then there's like it's kind of like Rhythm Heaven where there's a remix where it mixes up volumes 1 and volume 2. And that's I can't see the price right here. I'm pretty sure it all adds up to around $20.
Hmm.
Which I don't know, like for a mobile game, like Mario Run was like what $10. And I feel like that's definitely got more.
Oh yeah, no that. I mean, I managed to buy it on that because that was like what Nintendo's first entry into mobile gaming and such though, and I felt like there was enough in there, at least with enough levels. I mean, yeah, it wasn't like a crap ton, but it was just enough. I mean, yeah, $10 is usually it feels steep with mobile gaming and such, but then again, if you're looking at some other game like a Genshin Impact or a Honkai Star Rail, how much you do on those microtransactions? I mean, a lot of mobile games you might pay a whole lot more, but a lot of people just kind of expect for you to kind of get into the gate for free for the most part, though. So I don't know, and I was just kind of
Yeah,
running the trailer over and over. I'm like, hmm.
It really relies on like how many interesting photos you have on your phone, obviously, as well. Like, if you have a bunch of wacky photos of a bunch of like characters, that could be interesting. But like, I don't know, WarioWare's got like so much more charm to it. Where it's like, you got the boss stages, obviously, which are a lot more complex usually. Or you have like, the characters themselves, the interactions, the music. Like, I don't know, this game certainly seems, it just doesn't feel like a Nintendo thing, I guess. Or like,
I
it's
feel like
it's
it is
difficult.
Nintendo, but
Well,
it's
like,
like it's
well, actually,
not.
no. It feels
Uh,
if it feels like it's Nintendo in every. It's so Nintendo coded, but like I feel like this would have been perfect as like a Wario because there was a WarioWare that was focused on pictures on the DSi. So I feel like you should have just done something like this. Just make it like WarioWare. Just call it WarioWare Pictonico or something. I don't know. I feel like, when you do something that's basically just WarioWare and you don't actually make it WarioWare, you're gonna, like, I guess turn off a lot of people. I don't know. To me, I'm just very confused why it's not WarioWare. And it's not anything against the game. The game seems fine and all. But, like, at the same time, it just feels like something I'd turn on for 10 minutes and get sick of. You know what I mean?
oh yeah.
There's only so many times I could play the same mini games, and like, oh, I'll go for a high score, or like type of. I think that's what they want. They want people to go for a high score, and I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Nah, yeah.
Especially because you gotta pay $20. It's like, no, I'll go play WarioWare. I have a phone. I can just emulate WarioWare.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, like Mario Run is like a unique game with unique levels and like more stuff to do. Even Mario Kart Tour is like a decently featured Mario Kart game. Even if there is stuff you can buy in that game, you could just play it for free if you want. And then, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is like $15, but I'm pretty sure that game's got a lot more stuff in it.
Yeah, I don't know. Some mobile games make sense, like the Mario Run, the Fire Emblem Heroes, Pocket Camp. Like there's some mobile games out there, Mario Kart Tour, that just make a lot of sense. They pull in a decent amount of money. They do what they need to do. But I just feel like this one's just gonna be like almost a completely like off the wall one. And it's like, dang, it's like this is the next little thing you kind of come up with when you had other games like Dragalia Lost, which I felt like that was more like a complete game than definitely what this is right here, though. But somehow they managed to shut that one down for who knows whatever reason, though. I don't know why they did, but like,
I
golly.
feel like Fire Emblem Heroes just cannibalized it. Like you can't really have two gotcha. You can't really have two gotcha anime games at the same time, Nintendo. Especially when
Well,
one of them, I don't know. Pretty sure Dragalia, 2019 Fire Emblem Three Houses came out. Fire Emblem Heroes started booming again. I think Dragalia Lost got canceled shortly after that. I don't know. I feel like it just kind of got unlucky and it didn't take off like Nintendo was probably hoping it would.
I don't know. Maybe something like that, though. But
We'll see.
overall, Pictonico, interesting. I don't know. I just while we were going through the show and stuff, I literally just told the thing to download now. So if I do happen to mess with it between now and then, I might talk about it in what we've been playing segment in the next episode. We will see.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think that's all for that topic. So we'll go ahead and switch it on over to a little bit more exciting news because oh my goodness, Steven, because uh, uh, here we go. They're finally here performing for you. We got the members of the DK crew. Nintendo knew they didn't have any GameCube games, so what did they give us? They gave us Donkey Kong 64. Now get it going, DK. Donkey Kong. Let's get it going. Like, oh, shoot. Yes, this was one of those final few games that we were, I would say, personally missing, especially from a first party sense for the Nintendo 64. Because it was crazy, Steven, because I was talking to you and I was like, it was getting towards the end of May. And I was like, you know what? It's been a while since they gave us a GameCube game because I think based on the pattern they've been kind of doing, if they don't give you one game 1 month, they usually give it to you the next month. So I was fully thinking they were about to run out of time to give us like a GameCube game, even though I knew it was a really long time since they gave us an N64 game because I wanted that too. And lo and behold, they just dropped that trailer. I looked at it because I think you tagged me first. I saw it from that before seeing the actual trailer on my timeline on Twitter. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because I actually did manage to pick this game up for my actual analog 3D. So I was going through it. I don't know how far I managed to get into the game. I got it like a decent way, but I might finish it up on NS. So I still wanted to have the game just to own it and stuff like that, just to see it on original hardware though. But just having it on the Switch 2 and, just being able to have that like the ease of access, playing it handheld and then on the go and then docking on the TV and such though. Yeah, that easy convenience, that's just going to go a long way though. But man, how did this make you feel, Steven, seeing this one be announced?
Finally. That was like my main thought. Like, yeah, finally. Took them long enough. Where it's like, I don't know, man. Like, they've worked with Rare on so many games on N64. We got Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. Games they don't even own.
Oh, that? No, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Jet Force Gemini, Perfect Dark, GoldenEye. And something else I feel like I'm missing. And the
thing would be Conquer, but like they probably wouldn't even put out a trailer. They would just drop it and be like,
And then whatever game that was where you drive around with all the different vehicles, that one too. There was a lot of Rare games they already put up on this thing.
Is Killer Instinct Rare?
And Killer Instinct's on there too.
They put a lot of Rare games. Basically any Rare game that you could have put, they put.
Mm-hmm. So this was like one of the last few. I was like, okay, thank goodness they gave it to us. And funnily enough, I was looking at it because it says it's going to come out, I think, Thursday, like June 4th. I think that's like for Japan and them. So for us, since, time zones is a thing, I think it's going to drop for us probably Wednesday night or something like that. But I was like, you know what? It's almost, from the release of Donkey Kong Bonanza, it's almost been a full year. So I feel like maybe Nintendo wanted to space that one out just to kind of keep Donkey Kong somewhat relevant, because maybe they're going to do something else with him too. I don't know though, but it's interesting where they placed this set though. So now that we got our hands on this, I think the last few N64 games that I had on my list would have been Conker's Bad Fur Day, and that would have been like one of the last Rare ones I wanted to see. Smash Bros. 64, surprised that still hadn't happened yet, and Diddy Kong Racing. Because it was those three plus Donkey Kong 64 were like the last four I'm personally waiting on. Once they give us all of those, honestly, I wouldn't really need to look forward to any more new N64 games being announced. I mean, maybe they can bring that Goemon game that was like, I think it was mostly exclusive to Japan or whatever. They can bring that one over, and that would be kind of nice. But outside of that, I can't think of any more.
There was a Resident Evil 2 on N64 had a unique randomizer mode. There's a lot of third parties they can do. Mega Man 64, which is just Mega Man Legends, technically.
Oh, technically, I think there was like a Spider-Man game on N64 too. I mean, it was also on PS1.
There was a lot of tie-in games on all of them, really. But like they've done most of the N64 games people actually care about. Obviously, you can maybe do some 64 disc drive stuff if you really want to be cool.
Oh, now that would be bold if they did that. That would be really bold if they did that. I mean, I would love for them to do it, but I don't think they would. But then again, we're in a world where they did manage to give us the Virtual Boy, so nothing's really off the table, to be honest. Though, so
no. They gave us Virtual Boy. Literally nothing's off the table. You want to know my pipe dream that they're not going to do? Satellaview.
Oh, dear no. They ain't doing that.
They have them. They have to have them. It's like, they reference the Satellaview all the time. Like, they made exclusive games for the Satellaview that are basically lost media. And, like, that's a perfect opportunity for them to release something that no one else has access to right now. I'd play them.
Yeah, because like that Satellaview is basically like the N64 DD drive, but for the Super Nintendo. So I don't.
Well, no, it was kind of like the original NSO because you would download games onto it.
No, I was just talking about like the weird add-on piece. It's similar to it. Yeah. I mean because if they did that for either the Super Nintendo or if they did that for the 64. Then truly nothing will be off. I mean, I feel like for the most part, nothing's off the table. But truly, if they did one of those two things, that would be interesting. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
they do this to Teleview for like basic NSO people, so all the people for that will have access to it. And then the DD drive or something like that, they'll do that for like expansion pack owners or something.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
because 64 is only on expansion pack. Yeah.
yeah.
But either way, um, they gave N64 the rewind and they gave it the CRT filter when Switch 2 came out. So it was pretty obvious that they weren't just gonna abandon N64 and now the GameCube's happening. If anything, they're doing a lot. They've done more N64 than they have GameCube, which is kind of stupid. Either way, like I definitely think GameCube games are coming. Like Mario Sunshine still hasn't come yet. It's probably gonna be Shadow Drop during that June Direct.
Yeah, that and
Because like
also
it'll be
what
like
was
one
the other one?
final 40th
Coliseum.
anniversary thing. Yeah, Coliseum and Sunshine still haven't released yet.
And then
Those will
there's a
come.
whole lot of other crap ton of GameCube games that.
I'm sure we'll get a bunch. Like we'll get Paper
Come
Mario
on, Double
Thousand Year
Dash. Come
Door.
on, that's what I
Yeah,
need. Wave
they're gonna wait
Wave
for
Race
Double
6. Oh
Dash.
no, 64. Wave Race Blue Storm. That would be a nice one to have on there.
Pikmin 1 and 2. I would like Pikmin 1 and 2 just to have the original versions of those games accessible. Even if, just because
Yeah.
why not? Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, as I said. Like these I'm gonna these are
Smash Brothers
predictions.
Melee,
I know
which
I know we haven't talked about predictions yet. Like that's coming up, but like, we're talking about NSO anyways. So I thought I'd mention it. Like, yeah, like I think we'll get new GameCube games announced soon.
Oh yeah.
If they put Melee, that's gonna be crazy. Like even if it
No.
has input lag.
Okay, that would be crazy though, but I don't think they would announce and bring that forward before doing 64. Unless they did like they show both at the same time, like 60, like how they did
64 out now, Melee coming soon.
Or something like that. Yeah. Cuz I mean, there was one time, they did like they showed a 64 game and they showed and they also showed Virtual Boy as well. Like they showed a few different games between a couple of different systems. If they did it like that, then I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But we will see. All right. Well, outside of that, I'm glad that Donkey Kong 64 is finally to the table. So I think technically now, if you have NSO, or especially the expansion pack tier, you have access to playing Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, 3, and 64. You go out and buy Bonanza, and you basically got almost the whole Donkey Kong series. Beyond, obviously, you got to go and get Returns and Tropical Freeze as well. Then you truly have everything.
Can I say something about Bonanza spoilery?
Gosh dang it, Steven.
I'm asking you.
The year up happens next month. Next month, we'll blow the lid off this thing. There won't be no holding back. I know a couple of people that haven't beaten this game yet, but I'm blowing the lid off in July. It'll be time.
All I will say is that 64 coming basically gives you all of the games you need to fully enjoy Bonanza. If you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
So, that, this is, I don't know, you basically have the entire Donkey Kong series, the main series, on Switch now, right?
I mean, as long as you have a Switch 2, you can play everything. 1, 2, 3, 64, Returns, Tropical Freeze, and Bonanza.
And I'm sure there's one more I'm forgetting, but
that's everything. That is everything. Unless you talk about like Donkey Kong 94, like the arcade Donkey Kongs and stuff, which all of that is still available on it. So if you want to play those too,
Donkey Kong Land. There's arcade archives for like Donkey Kong Jr. and blah blah blah. So yeah, you basically have everything. Oh, Jungle Beat. We don't have Jungle Beat.
Oh, if you're talking about Jungle Beat and Donkey Konga, I mean those could come on the GameCube ones, maybe.
Yeah, they gave Donkey Kong Jungle Beat regular controls, I think, when it came to Wii.
Anything that used those bongos, they did do that.
Oh my god! Imagine if they did release bongos.
Oh dear, no, they're not doing that.
No, they totally.
Well, no, but here's the other thing, though. Too, they had the GameCube adapter, right? So I mean, technically, I have it, right? So I can plug it into my Switch and actually play with GameCube controllers and such. If I plug that mess in the Switch 2 and plug my original bongos up in there, that ought to still work. So regardless if they released the accessory or not, that should still technically work for this, as long as they pick that up as an actual controller. So we will see if that actually works. If it is, that's the way I'm playing those games. Whew, all right. Well, we went on and on talking about Donkey Kong. I love my brother in arms and stuff like that, but it's time for him to go ahead and chill. I imagine I'll play some more and we'll probably talk about it in the what we've been playing segment, maybe in the next episode when we get our hands on this. So, all right. Well, that's it for that. Lastly, in terms of all it's little small little SUBQUEST topics here, Dragon Quest did manage to get a anniversary stream showcasing off what is next for the series. And we all had a sneaking suspicion they might come out talking about a few different mobile games and such. And or not mobile games, spin-off games. And I was right about that, but they only showed off one. It was like a new Monsters game and such though. So it's like, Dragon Quest Monsters is mostly centered around that, and then obviously a couple of protagonists and stuff like that though. I never looked at any of those monster games, so I was like, okay, that's something I ought to play. I would have been more so excited if they showed off like a Dragon Quest Builders for me personally, because I really love the heck out of Dragon Quest Builders too. Maybe they're just kind of waiting until like something super interesting will come along where they'll warrant making a Dragon Quest Builders 3. So I'm hoping and waiting for that day to come though. But obviously the big thing that everybody was super excited and stoked for was a reveal, an update, something brand new for Dragon Quest 12 for the first time in a long time. This game has been on ice in terms of brand new news for like the better part of how many years, Steven? Like 3, 4, almost 5 years? 5 years?
It
It's
was
really been that long.
2021. It was the 35th anniversary stream when Dragon
golly,
Quest
that's
12
the
was
reason
revealed.
why. Golly. Yeah, so this was the 40th. So yeah, so it's been 5, and they gave us a lot of news announcements in that one. That was a pretty good stream though. But yeah, so beyond the 35th, this was the 40th, and then they said they came out, and they could have barely even show us footage before giving us the sad breaking in news that some things just didn't happen to go right with development. They had to change course a few or a couple of different times. So the original 12 that we were envisioning with like the flames and stuff that popped up with the logo of 12, the story elements that would have popped up in that version of the game had been like sunsetted. They repurposed, did some stuff, went back to the drawing board, and now we got like a different version of 12 where it's going to be like something a little closely assimilated with the thoughts of dreams. And I was like, what the heck? And I was kind of disappointed with this because of that news. It means that we're going to probably wait at least another 3, maybe 4 years, because outside of the little teaser trailer they showed us, they didn't say anything about platforms, nothing coming out like that. So I'm like, you know what? If they have to almost completely restart development, it's going to be another 3 or 4 more years. We might be pretty close knocking on the doorstep of the 40th anniversary before this game comes in.
Mean?
Or 45th. Yeah, that's what I meant. The 45th anniversary, though. So might be 2 years off from that. So yeah, I'm fully expecting we're probably ain't going to see nothing for this for like another 3 more years. And then if we're lucky, we'll get legit news up on this game, though. So I'm kind of saddened because, with the passing of Akira Toriyama, this is probably like one of the last major, at least mainline Dragon Quest games that he will actually have a direct hand in terms of his designs and stuff. And to know that he isn't going to be able to actually have his 2 cents with the vision that he had in mind with 12, with the original, like, with the flaming 12 that was going on, the fact that that's not going to actually play out the way how he might have envisioned it completely changed course. It is a little sad. I'm hoping some point in the distant future they might be able to revisit that and actually get it to work, but for all sakes and purposes, it just couldn't work out for whatever they had envisioned now.
We don't know when the game got restarted, for obviously, and we also don't really have a clear idea on like how far into development this game was when he passed away.
That is true.
You could make the argument that maybe whatever happened with him could have been a cause in like Dragon Quest 12 being reshuffled, because like maybe everything happened with him and they didn't want to obviously scrap his designs. They still wanted to use that stuff that he made them.
No, yeah, and that's some good talking points there too. I'm not exactly sure, but regardless, I guess that finished product, it's not going to be the one that he would have been able to actually say, you know what, I actually did that from start to finish. It's definitely, I mean, it could be the case. I mean, yeah, maybe something happened while he was still active and living and stuff, that might have caused him to say, all right, let's go ahead and do that. It's really interesting now because I really want to see like the behind the scenes. Like we hear about some gaming stories and stuff here and there, like years later, about game development or things that happen with certain games as like retrospectors, whatever. Though this is one I'm really curious about now, mostly because it's all tightly close to with Akira Toriyama. I'm just thinking like the original Dragon Quest 12 before it got replay and reshuffle. I was envisioning, since they said it was going to be a darker tone, it was the way how they described in that 35th anniversary, that most Dragon Quest games, yes, they do get dark in almost every single one of them. However, most of the time it doesn't happen until like once you're 50% of the way through the game. And I was imagining like, well, what if it got dark at the very beginning? Like we're talking about you're running away, town is burning and stuff like that though. The villain has technically already won from the moment zero, and you're trying to go through and like liberate certain towns, bust them away from whoever's happened to be controlling them and stuff like that, and start to make the game a little bit lighter and lighter as the story progresses. Obviously, it might go real dark again at some point though, but for the most part, you're trying to break down the darkness or whatever. That's what I was thinking in the back of my mind when they first brought this idea into mind. I was thinking maybe they'll do something different instead of the same almost static flow of it's pretty cheerful at the start, but then it gets darker later on. I thought they would just flip it on its head.
I was just gonna say, like, it still could very well be dark because they're going for a thing about dreams now. Like, the focus is dreams, and with dreams comes nightmares. There could be some fucked up shit in this game.
There could be, but for the most part, when I think of dreams and stuff, I'm thinking dreams, aspirations, like what your hope and your wishes and stuff like. At least when I think of dreams, that's the first thing that comes in the back of my mind. You can take dreams a lot of different ways, to be honest though, but that's just what was running in the back of my mind. So I'm thinking it's I feel like from start to finish it's gonna almost be a somewhat similar kind of storyline, some similar beats as 11 looking into 12 though. Obviously it's going to have its differences though, but actually looking at the little bit of trailer footage we got, we did manage to get the look at the main protagonist himself, and we also managed to get a look at two of the other party members, including a brand new race that was never actually seen before. So that was kind of interesting though. Was there anything from that little trailer that you kind of noticed?
No, it was like pretty simple. It looks really nice, the game. Like, I didn't really notice anything in particular. I feel like, they really didn't show that much. It was just, the new hero looks kind of cool. I've kind of warmed up to the design over the last couple of days.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting the way how he had that like mohawk-ish design, and I was like, okay, you know what? If they were gonna rock that, that's interesting because he kind of reminds me of, and you don't know anything about this though, but the design is similar to like Android 16 in the Cell Saga. That's kind of the vibe I kind of got off this dude. Not obviously nearly as bulky and such though, but also looking at like the world environments and stuff, like it seems a bit more open than Dragon Quest 11. Like 11 was pretty open, but this, I was like, okay, it seems like they're really gonna take it somewhere though. And it definitely looks like they're making this game like Unreal Engine or whatever though. Like the fact you're able to jump off like a cliff like that though, I'm like, okay, you know what? The world itself is still gonna be fine. I think I'm gonna be a happy camper with that. But I'm looking at some of these other characters and stuff, like the fact they had like a spaceship and such, where I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm wondering
that's
how
cool.
all of this is gonna play out, like the team synergy, because like 11 had like a killer team, and most Dragon Quest games, the teams are always really good though. So I'm like, all right, we will see about this one now.
Well, the concept of dreams, you could do a lot with the concept of dreams. Like, for example, like, you could have a character that's like dreaming about, like, a character that's like dreaming about like the advanced technology of the future, and then you go into that dream and it's like all the spaceships and this and that. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's unique concepts that could be done with just dreams. So that would be cool to see.
No, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to this, but once again, since they did say they restarted development, I'm really just shoving this in the back of my mind. 2 years if you're lucky. So now, like, what, we're in 2026, 2028 at the earliest, but more than likely 2029. It's almost, now that I'm thinking about it, Steven, I know nobody really, and it almost kind of bleeds into the next topic though, but no one really wants those next generation consoles anytime soon. But by the time that this game would come out, if it were to come out in 2029 or something like that, it's gonna be right around that transitional period where we might be going into like the next console generation for like PlayStation and Xbox, maybe, depending on how some of these market conditions are. But man, that's just crazy to think about that. Like, what a Dragon Quest will basically almost miss a whole generation. Outside of that, was there anything else you wanted to mention about Dragon Quest, Steven?
It looks cool. Who knows? Who knows what the original game looked like? But whatever this redo they're doing looks good. I hope it's not a Metroid Prime 4 situation.
Oh, please don't. Please don't.
We'll see.
All righty. Well, outside of that, I think that's basically it in terms of everything I had in terms of all of our side quest related stuff with our topics. So now we're going to jump on over to the last major segment of the show, that being our main mission topics. Alrighty, Steven. So we had some sad and unfortunate news. I think it was last episode, right, Steven, where we talked about the Switch 2 going up by $50, right?
Yeah, it was.
All right, so that was in last episode, and people were throwing a tangent. They were screaming and hollering all over Twitter and every little type of social media bit of little bit of whatever you happen to see out there on the internet. People were complaining, they were grabbing their pitchforks and stuff like that, and they were just all mad at Nintendo though. But Valve looked over there at Nintendo and was like, you know what? Hold my beer, because my goodness, they came out and this mess pales in comparison in terms of like the price jump listings that we have for the new Steam Deck models though, because Steam Deck, there's two different models that they have, because basically there was like the LCD model, the original one, but that's kind of like discontinued. They're not really making any more of those, so they're only doing the OLED ones. They took the prices up for both of these. So originally the Steam Deck OLED, that was like the 512 gigabyte version, originally it was selling for I'm rounding up, $550. That is now all the way up to $780. My goodness, that's a stinking near $220 increase. That is crazy. But then you look at the Steam Deck OLED, that's the 1 terabyte model, that was originally $650. That sucker jumped all the way up to $950. That's a $300 increase over there though. So now you look at stuff like that, and it's like, what the actual freak? Now people looking back at Nintendo, they're like, oh gosh, dang, I was complaining about that one though, but a $220 or a $300 increase instead of a $50 one, they're kind of looking at Nintendo now and like, ah, dang. I'm still sad they increased it though, but at least they gave us a little window frame, like a 3-month thing, and then the fact it's only moving up by $50, and they got alternatives for people that are gonna get new consoles. They can still treat it like the Mario Kart World bundle and either get that game with it, Bonanza, or Pokemon Pokopia with it, and it still kind of feels all the same. Doesn't feel like much has changed with it in comparison to what this happened with Steam Deck. So now people are just like, dang, this is the era where we're kind of living in now, where you buy a console on one day, and yesterday's price is not today's price, and today's price is not tomorrow's price. Good night. How is this making you feel?
So, I have berated every single console for doing this exact same thing. So that's not going to change here. Okay? Like, I'm not going to give them lenience when I gave Nintendo shit, I gave Xbox shit, I sure as hell gave Sony shit. I don't understand this decision. I think this decision makes absolutely no sense. First, they cancel the original model, the LCD screen. So it's only the OLED. Fine, whatever. The OLED screen's nice and all. $300? I see no world where $300 increase makes sense. And this was right away. If you want to go buy a Steam Deck right now, you have to deal with these new prices. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't give any notice. Like, Nintendo gave fucking 6 months notice. You could say whatever you want about Nintendo, but they made an apology. They confirmed that new unannounced games are coming this year. They adjusted the price of their games to accommodate, and they gave a 6 month notice. And it was
3 months, but
it's
yeah.
only and it's $50. That's usually the bare minimum. Like, you don't see $25 increases. Like, PlayStation has increased like $100 over the last year or so. They did two increases. So, like, obviously, like, PlayStation was, used to be like a good price compared to Switch. Remember Switch 2 came out 450 Black Friday that year. You could see PS5s for like 400.
Oh yeah, that's
We're
the
gonna
lowest we're
we're gonna
ever gonna see. That like I
we're no,
normally
we're going
PlayStation's
into
pretty
the
good about
holidays.
yeah. Normally PlayStation's pretty good about cutting their consoles costs for Black Fridays. I doubt. Well, if they do, it'll be back to like what would be like the original, close to $500 or maybe 550. But it won't be no more than that, or even if they decide to do that at all. To be honest.
Yeah, and there's deals all over the place if you know where to look. I don't know if you've seen it. The other day on Newegg, you could get $100 worth of eShop cards for like $80 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So you could get a Switch 2, like a new Switch 2, for like $380.
Oh yeah, because you can get those eShop cards.
And then
Nintendo
use
changed
them.
their way of like you used to have to only use them on games, but now you can use them on Nintendo Store to buy hardware, accessories, and stuff. So indirectly, you can buy the Switch 2 directly from Nintendo by using stuff like that. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, look at that. As long as you know where to look, you can get a lot of deals. Like some places, and obviously, then Nintendo gave notice. Steam Deck, oh nope, no notice. Fuck you guys. I know we got the Steam machine coming up. Probably gonna be $1,000. I guarantee Steam machine's gonna be $1,000 now, which is gonna
Oh,
kill it. No one's
yep.
gonna
And
fucking buy.
that's
No
what I
one's
was
gonna
about to
buy
say.
that thing.
Mm-hmm.
No
Yep.
one. No one's
Because
gonna buy that.
they've been kicking that can down the road. Because originally, remember, that was supposed to be in the first half of the year. We're already in June, which is basically the last month of, you could say, for the first half of the year. And or no, did they say first half of the year, or they said no? They said early. So early could have been like the first 3 or 4 months of the year though. But yeah, anyway though, they've been kicking that can down the road, and they want to reveal some stuff, but because of the price of the AI boom and stuff with all this with the memory shortages and stuff like that, it's just making things tough, especially once you see the cost of this goes up to that price. Because in no world am I seeing that Steam or the Steam Deck be priced for or more than what will be this new Steam machine. I imagine the Steam machine should cost more than obviously
It
these
should.
Steam decks. So looking at that, at the bare minimum, what is it now? If you look at the 512 model, because I imagine there might be two different models for the Steam
No,
machine.
yeah, yeah, it
Um,
will. 2 terabytes and 512.
yeah. So if we're basing off the 512 gigabyte models, um,
Probably
that Steam
800.
machine has to be at least $800 at a minimum, if not more. So that's crazy. So I'm like, it's already gonna be dicey. So yeah, that the bigger version with the more storage and stuff easily could be over $1,000. And at that point, some people are using this as maybe a way for a console gamer to maybe transition to PC. I highly doubt it at these costs like that. Like that's rivaling the PS5 Pro at this point though. So yeah. I did have like a little thing over here on the side, so we can run through all the price increases that we ever had for all the current consoles here on the market, though. So you have the Switch 2. Original was 450, now it's 500. So that did a $50 increase. The Xbox Series X had like two different price increases. It started at 500 for the disc-based model. We're currently at 650 right now. Same thing with the original PS5. It started at 500 and it's currently at 650 for the disc-based model. But if you're also looking at like the PS5 Pro, that was originally $700. Now it's 900, so that went up through $200. And then we just talked about the Steam Deck prices, where like the 512 one, 550 originally, up to 789. That was basically about a 200 and almost $40 increase. Good night. And then the 1 terabyte one from 649 all the way up to like 950. $300. So yeah, so we've seen everything from a $50 increase at a minimum, upwards to almost a $300 increase at a maximum, and that was with Valve and the Steam Deck at the highest incremental increase. So yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking, because remember how everyone was like, dude, Switch 2, just buy a Steam Deck, guys. Switch 2 is
Oh, those
not
people
worth
were
it.
so weird. Like I seen them all over Twitter, and I'm
First of
like, that didn't
all,
make no sense.
First of all, they're competing for two completely different markets. One of them is going for all of Steam, and obviously is more like, customizable, and it's basically a PC at that point, and it's got like Linux. So like the Steam Deck is more customizable, while the Switch 2 is primarily designed to load up games easily. Like you load up a game, you don't have to adjust any settings, just load it up and go. So the Switch 2 is definitely the more simple platform for that, which I don't think people understand. That's the whole appeal, is that you can just put a cartridge in or, download a game and that's it. That's all you have to do. While fucking Steam Deck, I'm sure there's a million, you have to optimize certain things. I know certain games have Steam Deck settings, but still, it still takes a lot of work, like to get it the exact way you want it on a Steam Deck. But like it's a cool device from what I've seen, and like it's competent enough to do stuff like Spider-Man PS4 or this or that. Like the fact of the matter is though that what the fucking cheapest model is 7 something, right? And like, yeah, I know that Steam games go on sale more frequently, but the fact of the matter is that like the console should not be that much, man. And it really only is a good idea if you have an existing portfolio on Steam.
No, yeah. So I mean, if you have already a good amount of or a good strong PC, and you want to do some mobile gaming, I mean, or I say mobile gaming, playing on the go like a Switch or whatever though. I mean, it's kind of hard to even recommend a Steam Deck at this point for those kind of prices. I'm kind of looking around now and I'm like, I mean, yes, almost every console, or not console, but there's like a lot of different companies out there that do like the portable PC devices and stuff like that. Like I have a ROG Ally that I can use for certain lower end PC games if I want to take it on the go or just boot it up real quick on my TV and just dock the sucker. But it's really hard to recommend anything now though because everything's
Well,
expensive.
guess what? Honestly, I'd recommend getting an Xbox ROG Ally instead of the Steam Deck now. I think they're both around 1,000 if you're
Oh,
going
if
for
you
the
get
high
that,
the high
yeah, the
memory.
high end version, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think the Xbox ROG Ally has a 120 FPS mode, and probably is easier just because I think it has like, built-in like Game Pass support and all that, right?
Oh, and two, it has like 1080p resolution, whereas the Steam Deck doesn't even hit that. So
I thought Steam Deck had a 1080p
no,
screen.
they do not. That's the reason why I when what was it Steam Deck came out with their system first, and then ROG Ally came out with their first edition of um, their little system, and I saw ROG Ally was able to hit 120 FPS and support 1080, and the Steam Deck didn't even hit 1080 and definitely did not support 120. I was like, well, that's where my money's going.
Well, yeah, and then Switch 2 over here, 1080, 120 as well. Not that
Yep.
many games do it yet, but it's there.
Yeah, so I was like, I did like having that little bit of flexibility, so that's the reason why I kind of stood on that. But I don't know, it's kind of crazy seeing all these consoles go up in price. It's starting to get out of the hobby and almost start to become like an enthusiast market now, unfortunately. But I don't know, that's just kind of the era that we
I,
live in right now.
the fact that I can buy a fucking video game console and it's an investment that gets more expensive only 2 years after, it's crazy.
Maybe we ought to start stocking up on some systems and we can flip these suckers.
Maybe, maybe we ought to pop the AI bubble already.
That ain't popping anytime soon. It's probably gonna be at
It's
least another 3 more years because it takes a while for them to even set up all of this stuff. They have to buy
that's
it,
fine.
then build it, and then do all of this stuff. So I don't know. We
I'm
will
fine with
see.
that, honestly, as long as it pops soon.
All righty. Well, that was the first little major, gaming segment news that we had as one of our main mission topics. And then the next and the final one, and probably arguably the most fun one, because now it's that time of season. We got to talk about all these gaming shows and stuff like that and give all of our predictions and stuff. We're talking about everybody from PlayStation with their state of play, Xbox's showcase, the Summer Game Fest show as well. And eventually there will be that Nintendo Direct that will probably highly likely, I'm pretty sure it will come out some point in the month of June, whether it's this week or next week. I feel like hopefully it's one of those two. That way I can actually talk about it in the next episode. Or even if it's not that and it's in the second half of the month of June or something like that. It's coming. So I'm just going to go ahead and lump it up in here as well, though, because, man, this is where things get interesting, because this is literally gaming's Christmas time. And oh man, I'm here for every little second of it though. So in terms of all these predictions, we'll take each show one by one. It's easy to talk about first party show, or not first party shows, first party IPs between at least three of them. Makes it really easy. But where some of these third parties decide to show up, that's where things get a little tricky, because they could show up in some shows and maybe not in others though. So I don't know. We're just gonna be kind of mixing and matching and just kind of taking our shot at what showcase that some of these things might actually show up in. So we're gonna play it out one by one, and I'm looking over here at the list. The first one that's gonna happen first is gonna be on Tuesday, literally 2 days from now, or maybe a day or so, or the day of, depending on when you're watching and listening to this podcast, though. Because the first one up on the block is on Tuesday, June the 2nd, and that's when we're gonna have that state of play. It's gonna air out at 2 p.m. Pacific time or 5 p.m. Eastern time. That's like 4 o'clock. I'll still be at work, unfortunately for me. Steven, are you going to be able to watch this one live?
Which one again? I'm sorry. The
The
state of
state of
play.
play one. Yeah.
I'm off on Tuesday, so yes.
Dang it. Oh, dog. I'm going to have to. Luckily, I'll be at work for most of the day, though. But then obviously, like once I get close to the closing part of my little shift, I'm just going to have to go on mute. I just won't be able to open up Twitter, unfortunately, and then get home and watch it, though. But yeah, this is one of the ones I'm a little bit more excited to see out of pretty much out of all of the shows, because I have a PS5 and Sony does have some good stuff though. In terms of the confirmed bit of stuff that we know it's going to be in the state of play, they're going to start it off with Wolverine. I feel like we got a decent bit of information from the last time they showed off Wolverine. Maybe there could be a little few extra things that they can show off within this state of play. I don't feel like they can add like too much more to it. I'm already sold on it. Steven, are you getting the game?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay. No, yeah, so I'm already sold on it. So they don't really have to show me too much more unless they show me like a limited edition or like a controller or something. I'm gonna be like, shoot. But yeah, so we know that's confirmed. I don't think anything else is actually confirmed for this show.
They really blew their load in that last state
That
of
last
play.
one was
So
crazy though. That one
like
was
I don't
absolutely
know.
crazy. So
In terms of games, I could see them showing Intergalactic again, that new Naughty Dog thing. Like what? Yeah, probably.
I think
They'll
that's a good
probably
chance. Yeah.
they'll probably, or maybe fucking Jeff Keighley will steal that from them. Either way, like, I feel like they will show some stuff. I feel like I'm gonna get my look at the next FNAF game. They usually show them in states of play.
Okay, you're thinking that. Okay.
My cope, my cope. I need my cope. I need it. I need it. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'm not blaming you. All right, I see that. One that I think will probably show up in here. It's either here or Summer Game Fest. But I'm gonna take a shot at it in State of Play, because I think Ubisoft has done some stuff with them in the past before. This one technically already leaked out. That new Rayman Legends Retold game. I think that will show up in the State of Play. I don't think it's either that or Summer Game Fest though, but I'm thinking it's going to be in the State of Play. That's where they're going to want to show that one off.
One of them. Yeah, it's gonna be in one of them definitely. And then I don't know if you've seen Rayman Origins is also getting an enhanced version,
Hmm. So
4K
yeah,
60.
it's interesting. They're bringing back this man with no limbs back to the forefront, and you said Rayman Legends. That was originally released around the
On the
time on the Wii U, right?
Yeah, it got like delayed so it could also release on other consoles, but like it was originally supposed to be a Wii U exclusive. before
Mm.
Ubisoft got cold feet, and it is a fantastic game. It's fucking incredible, honestly. Um, I don't know what I don't really know what to expect. We haven't seen gameplay of this. We got the logo and we got the key art leaked for Retold. So I hope it's good because I like Rayman from the games I have played. So some more content would be awesome.
No, yeah, that'll be one. I messed around with the demo way back in the day on the Wii U, and I was like, okay, I don't really mess around with Raymond too much though, but some of those musical segments that they have for him, I was like, it could be interesting. It could be interesting. So yeah, so I'm thinking that will show up here. I'll take a good shot on that. Something else for the state of play. I'm thinking first party wise, outside of Wolverine, they'll probably give another little quick little glance at what was it? The new Marvel fighting game. They'll probably show that off again one more time because I think the game is supposed to come out in it's either August or September, so roughly about in a few months from now, not too far off. So I think they'll show that off again, maybe one more time. It might be the last time they'll do it. And the show is supposed to be about almost an hour ish long. So I'm thinking that Wolverine segment will probably take up the first 10 to 15 minutes, hopefully 10 or less. I don't want it like too long. Could take away from some of the other stuff in the shows though. But I think something else first party wise. I was about.
Not first party, but like I could see Spyro making a comeback.
You think Spyro? You think
Yeah,
it's
I
time?
don't
You think
think.
it's time?
Yeah, I don't think Crash is coming back for a little bit, especially because that Crash Team Rumble game kind of, for pun intended, crashed and burned.
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll see. I think either
I'll
Crash or
I'll
Spyro
be
will
down
come
for
back.
that. I'll be down for that. Yeah, because I
I
feel
hope
like if
so.
it showed up anywhere first, it will either be a state of play or be a Nintendo Direct. It's not going like to Xbox or something like that. Yeah, I feel like they'll want to do it with PlayStation, so that would be cool if they did something like that. I was I'm on the fence about this, but I'll go ahead and well, hold up, no, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. There was two things that came to mind, but I think this one's a little more likely. It's been a long time since we had a an Uncharted game. I say it's about time we get a new one. I don't know if it's a remake. I don't know if it's a brand new one, but something Uncharted. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I think that will show up here in this state of play. And
We'll
then
see. I don't know because like that would usually be Naughty Dog. You'd think.
usually, but if it's a remake, it doesn't necessarily have to. Or no, you're kind of right about that though. Unless it was already like in the works, or they had like a Studio A and B thing going on or something. We will see. We will see. But I feel like something else. It was either between that or if I was thinking like maybe another Ratchet and Clank. But usually you only get one of those per console. And I think there was something with the Insomniac leaks or whatever though. Like I think it still would be a little too soon. So I'm gonna retract that little part though. But I'm gonna lean strongly on the Uncharted game. I think that's gonna have a decent shot of showing up. I felt like there was something else that I was also thinking could show up in the state of play. And then it slipped my mind, Steven. Dang it. Was there anything else that you were thinking that you wanted to predict for this one show?
Can't really think of anything. Got FNAF. Got Spyro. Um, Trying to think of anything that maybe they announced in the past.
Oh, the Tomb Raider games. I think one of those
Oh
will
yeah,
actually show up. The one that's the remake, I think that one will probably show up again in this one.
probably.
That was the other thing that was slipping from my mind.
I don't think there's gonna be too much here. Obviously, I think they're gonna really double down on Wolverine being their big game.
Hmm. Okay. I'm not expecting nothing crazy for first parties, but outside of like what we kind of predicted with Intergalactic, maybe Uncharted, and then obviously you have Wolverine, and then you have the Marvel fighting game. That's already four games that'll be associated as like quote unquote first party games for Sony.
Yeah,
So that would be already be a lot to be honest. So we will
yeah,
see.
and remember they like to take their sweet ass time, like spend 5 minutes just fucking talking about a game sometimes, in like an hour long showcase.
Yeah, because they even got like tickets and stuff where you can watch the state of play in like in a movie theater setting or something. I don't know which theater it is though, but it's something weird like that. So I'm thinking they're gonna be hitting hard, and they even have like a countdown on their website as well for this thing though. So they're thinking it's gonna hit. We'll see how hard it hits. Hopefully it doesn't flop, but we will see. We will see. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. There's like a little bit of a mysterious air with it, but it's like one of the top two out of the confirmed ones that we got showed off that I'm really looking forward to. So I think that's all of our predictions for that one. Let's swing it on over to the next one. That's going to be Summer Game Fest itself. This one is really tough to do any predictions on because of the fact that it's so open ended. Like you can get some Sony, you can get some Xbox, shoot, you even can get like some super minor Nintendo stuff to show up in this thing. So it's like a bag of all tricks and stuff though. What Jeff
So
Keighley shows.
I think the next Sonic thing will be shown
You
here.
think Sonic will show up in this one?
Yeah, I think so. They showed Sonic Racing Cross Worlds at Game Awards a couple years back.
Okay, so you think
They
it's another 3D Sonic, not like a 2D, like a 3D
yeah,
Sonic,
I
like a
well, I think
Frontiers, whatever
well
comes after
Frontier
that?
well Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition was leaked a couple weeks back.
Oh golly, I forgot about that sucker.
So
Shoot.
that will probably happen, but like I do think the next game will just be revealed is the main thing. Like I think the next game will be revealed and they'll be like stay tuned 2027. And just to get people excited because if Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition is probably not going to be exciting and it probably won't really add anything. So I think they just want to keep, they just want to get people excited, give them the name, give them the premise of the next Sonic game, and like boom, you'll find out more next year. We'll see, and hopefully it will be interesting because like we need something interesting right now. Um, yeah, Summer Games Fest is always weird with the different collabs. Like it's usually where a lot of indie stuff will show up, like whatever indies that Jeff Keighley's feeling that day. Probably get your first look at the Silk Song DLC, whatever that's gonna be. Um, it's difficult, really. He always gets like the weird announcements and like games that I've literally never heard of.
Yeah, it's always tough. I'll go out on a limb because I think he actually showed this off in one of his. I don't know if it was Summer Game Fest or if it was a Game Awards or whatever though. But I think it's time, Steven. I think in this show, not in this state of play, but it's going to show up in his show. He paid the big bucks before, and gosh dang it, he'll probably do it again because coming off of that game that shut down real close after the last Game Awards and stuff, barely could last like a couple of weeks. Yeah, High Guard. He needs to make a comeback. I don't know if you end it off or you start off the show with this though.
What?
But I think Final Fantasy VII Part 3 will be showed off first time in the Summer Game Fest show. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's the prediction.
I can totally see that. Yeah, that makes enough sense. I don't know, man. That whole thing with High Guard, like he completely missed the ball thinking people would care about that game, especially the final announcement at the fucking Game Awards. Crazy. I don't know. Summer Games Fest is so hard to predict because I think Jeff Keighley, the more I listen to him, the more of an annoying little fucking shill he turns out to be. He's just the most annoying bitch that will do literally anything as long as the right price is given to him.
Hey, you got to make that money somehow.
But at the same time, I do have to respect that he's been in this community so long, and like he knows how this stuff works. He's good at like getting people excited for a presentation and all that. Like Game Awards is rigged and literally fucking means nothing, but like it's still exciting to watch it. The presentation is good.
Yeah.
So like that Summer Games Festival hopefully be interesting this year. We'll see. Like it's been kind of hit or miss. We got some really good announcements once in a while. Got some most of the time.
Yeah, and I'll throw out another prediction here for Summer Game Fest outside of the Final Fantasy VII Part 3. I think we'll see some other, like you said, Sonic already. I wasn't thinking about it, but I was thinking Sega would show up in some kind of. Sega is one of those companies that will kind of spread out their stuff in every show. Like I got some predictions for the Xbox one that Sega will do some things in, but I think for this specific one, I'm thinking they'll probably show off one game for sure Crazy Taxi. They've been teasing some stuff. I think Crazy Taxi will show up in here because that's I think it was either in the Game Awards or the last Summer Game Fest where they teased it and
It
they
was
were
in
like,
Game Awards.
yeah, Game Awards, where they teased like, oh, Sega's coming back with all those older IPs. So I think we'll see Crazy Taxi in this one. And also I'm thinking we might get to see Jet Set Radio as well.
Yeah, in the Xbox one, that would make sense.
No. In Summer Game Fest. I'm thinking it's going to show up here.
Okay. I'm pretty sure Jet Set Radio had like a game that was exclusive to Xbox at one point, so I feel like the Xbox audience would be a little bit more tuned to that. Who knows what they'll do, obviously, but that's just to me what kind of makes sense. Um, but yeah, they still have a lot of those games. Like Golden Axe is still apparently in development. I think a new Streets of Rage or something. Like they announced a lot of games a while back, and I think Shinobi is one of the only ones that's released so far.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah.
We'll see, obviously, and then who knows what else Sega could be doing. The big elephant in the room was Persona 6. There was some kind of leak recently.
Now
Like
that
who knows
leak,
what's
I
going
don't
on.
think that was a legitimate leak, but if that were to be true, I think it would show up in Xboxes first. I don't think it'll be in Summer Game Fest.
We'll see. I definitely think Persona 6 is coming soon, but like
Well, I don't
I
want to
don't
get I
know.
don't want to get ahead of myself. That's so much in the Xbox stuff though. I'll circle
But
back
like it's
around to it.
been it's been almost 10 years since Persona 5, man. Like Jesus. Let's move on.
I know it's been long. Was there any other predictions you have for Summer Game Fest? I think that's pretty much it. I think I threw out everything I felt
Yeah,
like it will
that's
probably
most of
show.
it.
The rest of it is probably just gonna be some weird old mobile stuff here and there though. Games like what you mentioned you hadn't heard of in a long time, or obviously a good handful of indie stuff though. So if you're an indie fan, Guru fan, Summer Game Fest, they're gonna have you in full. I think that's for sure. All right, so that's it for that. Let's move over to Xbox showcase and such. Where since you already brought it up, Steven, with Persona, one of my predictions in this, well, let's talk about the confirmed stuff. The confirmed stuff is obviously you're gonna have Gears of War E-Day show up in this mess. We know that's for sure. And we did get news, and I didn't have it as like a topic earlier in the show, but Fable did get delayed out of what should have been this year, and they pushed that to like February of next year. Because I think part of it they got a little scared and stuff of, oh my gosh, back it up, Steven, back the freak
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
GTA
I kind of
6, that's
I
gonna
was
be in
kind of
Summer Game
avoiding.
Fest. That's gonna be in Summer Game
Yeah,
Fest. Yeah,
that would probably be what ends Summer Games Fest. But like, I'm not really
dang.
excited about
I
like GTA 6 is like a force of nature. I'm just kind of when it comes, I'll be ready. But like, I'm not really worried about it right now.
I'm not worried about it though, but like that's how you end off a show for Summer Game
But like,
Fest, and then
yeah,
people gonna remember you after that. Especially if
yeah,
you
I
get
guess so.
Rockstar to show it off in your show instead of Rockstar doing their own thing, that's gonna speak some volumes. One way or another, I think we should see another trailer happen sometime within this given week. Even if Rockstar just randomly, that'd be wild if they did that though. Even if they randomly just stuck out the trailer and did it themselves, or if they don't happen to throw it in anybody's show. All right, that'll be the last Summer Game Fest one I have to predict. Now back to Xbox though. But yeah, I think they got scared and stuff with Fable and stuff. That's the reason why they kicked that one down the road by a couple of months with all the stuff that's gonna happen with GTA 6 though. So we might get another look at it again because I don't think they're gonna do another Xbox show before that game comes out. So we might get a little glaze over it. And I think those like the only Gears of War E-Day is the only thing that's confirmed. X or Fable is like a prediction. I think they're still going to show it off in some kind of capacity. Now, back to what you were ending off originally a handful of minutes ago. Persona. We will see something Persona in this Xbox showcase. We should see 6, but I don't think we're going to see 6, unfortunately,
Let's see
because
7. Let's
we're
see
gonna
Persona
see Persona 4 Golden or
Revival.
Revival. They call it Revival though. But Persona 4 Revival, I think that would be in this one because I think it's supposed to come out either in the second half of this year and slash or early part of what will be 2027. It's weird how they described it in their fiscal years. So I'm thinking Sega's been kind of buddy with Xbox as of late, so I'm thinking they're going to show off Revival here in this show. That's the only thing I'm going to be excited about seeing. Really, for all sex and purposes in this show. That's what I'm really trying to get out of this show.
Could be both.
It could be both, but I don't feel like Sega will wanna, or more like Atlas will want to show off too much Persona all in one sitting. They know one can kind of carry them over, and you can kind of keep more of your eyes on Persona 4 Revival, which is obviously going to come out sooner than what a Persona 6 will be at this point. So like if that were to come out this year, you keep your eyes on that. And then early part of next year, then you can announce something with Persona 6. At that point, you can't really do much more. I mean, yeah, you can mess around with the first 2 games of Persona if you really wanted to, but I just kind of feel like that's how they're going to play it out, unfortunately. We will see.
We'll see. Yeah. I don't know.
What's the prediction
very
you got?
interesting time. For Xbox,
Mm-hmm.
I think Rare Replay will finally come to PC Game Pass. I know that's a really random
That's
one.
crazy.
Well, I don't know why it's not on there. Or like you put it on Steam or something. Like I think Rare Replay will finally come back.
Oh, if they put it on Steam, I actually will probably buy that.
I think it's difficult. I feel like they basically already showed everything that they're really doing. Because, like, I'd hate to be like this fear monger, but Xbox really fucking isn't doing anything, and they're gonna die soon because of it. Like, we changed our name back to capital letters Xbox, guys. We're changing. We're doing all this stuff. See, we're changing. But, like, I don't know, man. I
don't know. Asher Sharma
really,
been
I
changing
can't.
things and busting down doors and flipping tables and stuff and changing emails and stuff and might be kicking some people out the door. This will be the first time she'll probably show up in one of these little showcases or at least have a hand in it. So I'm kind of curious to see what she is going to wind up doing. We will see.
We'll see. The only stupid prediction I'll make is that, like, maybe in the Xbox showcase, we'll finally see what happened to that Marvel 1945 game.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, because that game I'm glad you mentioned it. That game was supposed to come out some point this year. The one that had Captain America and Black Panther in it, and it got delayed. So I don't think it's coming out this year. It'll be next year. Out of all of the I'm trying to think. Where did it show? I thought that showed up in the State of Play the first time. I don't think it was with Xbox. Because Xbox had the weird old thing with what was it? Oh golly, it's slipping my mind. Something Marvel. What was it? Not Black Panther, not Daredevil. Something edgy and dark. Oh my gosh, Steven, it's on the tip of my tongue, and I cannot.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat it?
Oh no, I was trying to think of it. Was something Marvel that Xbox had the rights to, and then it got canceled. Blade, that's what it was. There we go. Golly, it was hard to get that off my tongue.
They did announce that.
Yeah, so that was supposed to be a thing, and now that kind of got shelved or whatever, though. But that Hydra game with Captain America and Captain America. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? I don't know why I can't get this off my tongue though. Black Panther, Captain America and Black Panther. That was originally showed off in a State of Play, if I remember right. So if it were to show up anywhere, I'm thinking it would show up there versus an Xbox One. But it'll be bold if they were to do that. Or I'll say this, like Marvel games and stuff, they're pretty good and generous about spreading the wealth of all of their Marvel icons. So I don't know, maybe something Marvel, even if it weren't that, Steven, I'll go ahead and predict that something else Marvel might show up in this one. I don't know what it would be, but maybe you'll get something. I don't know. Outside of that one, it's so hard because I feel like this one's just gonna be mostly chock full of just third party stuff versus the first party stuff. It's really hard for me to make any more predictions off of this one.
I can't. You know what? Screw Xbox. I got one more thing to say about Sony. Did you see that they're apparently doing, like, you could watch it, the State of Play in a theater or something if you're close to, like, a specific chain?
Man, that's how I know you ain't be listening. I literally said that earlier with that State of Play one.
I might have missed you saying that. Sorry. I'm trying. I'm a little tired, I'll admit, because it's late over here. But like I'm holding on because Xbox, come on, Xbox is fucking boring, okay? Like there's nothing to talk about.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. I could be crazy. I could be like, "Oh, dude, Banjo-Kazooie's going to get a remake." Oh my god, it's
Oh
finally
no,
time.
no,
But
you just be baiting people and giving people false
yeah,
hope. Like we don't do that here on
exactly.
this
Like
show.
I genuinely can't think of anything that they can do. Okay? Can you think of anything else that Xbox can do? Because like I don't know, fucking Doom just got a new game. So like that's probably not happening for a while.
No,
Elder
you
Scrolls.
ain't getting
Oh
anything else
yeah.
from
I don't know.
Bethesda like that.
Yeah, I was about to say Elder Scrolls 6 is in fucking purgatory.
I mean, you
So like
might get they'll probably will show off the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, was it 4? Because like that's coming to Switch 2 and stuff like that. Like you'll probably get that show up somewhere in the show, but like outside of that, I honestly I don't know what else that they're gonna do that's gonna be like somewhat really cool or something like that.
yeah.
Hmm. All right. Well, I guess that's it for our Xbox predictions. And then lastly, we don't know when this show will take place. It'll be nice if they did it sometime this week, or like if it were like early part of next week, like on a Tuesday. Because like if this was like the original Nintendo, or not Nintendo, the original E3 calendar, you know, Summer Game Fest, obviously they just kind of stuck themselves up in there for Friday and stuff. You know what's kind of we're not done with all the predictions. So I'll mention this later. But normally Nintendo will be like one of the last ones to go, and it's usually always like on that Tuesday right before they open up the show floor and stuff, and everybody else cram their stuff in the weekend. So it'd be nice if Nintendo, even if they don't do anything this week, maybe it's next week though. But Nintendo predictions. The only thing I would say that I feel like will be 100% guarantee will be maybe they'll throw one last nugget of information if it comes out before Star Fox comes out. They'll throw one last nugget of information that we didn't know about, maybe about Star Fox. I feel like most of it's already out there, but maybe something with like the James mission or something like that. Maybe they'll just throw a little something out there. It won't be really long because they already had a dedicated
Yeah.
Nintendo Direct. I think that's going to be a highly likely, and Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave highly likely because we hadn't gotten anything since that first original trailer. Those are almost two
Yeah.
given
I think
ones, and then everything else we can really start to speculate on.
I think Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave will start the direct with a decently sized trailer, and then they'll announce that we'll be getting a direct later that month or maybe next month,
Okay.
just for that big blowout. Because I'm gonna safely say that that's a September game. I
Yeah, I
think
would
that's
agree with you.
I
I'm
don't think
originally
August.
I'm thinking that September, not August. August I feel like is a little too soon if they were to
I
show
think
off this next trailer in June. I'm thinking September would be the earliest.
I do think August will have a game. I do think August will be like some sort of low profile either remake or smaller game they're working on. I don't know what yet. Obviously, Splatoon Raiders is the end of July, so they probably just don't want to have anything get overshadowed by that
Oh, you
going
know, and
into
that's
August.
interesting. They never showed anything with Splatoon Raiders in an actual direct whatsoever. It's all been like on the mobile app or just random,
Which I don't
Twitter drops and
understand.
stuff. So I'm thinking if they do have a Nintendo Direct, yes, that will be another given up there with like Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave and like
well,
probably Star Fox, where you get a little spot in the show for that.
yeah, I think I don't know. I think they're gonna do a lot of game specific directs. They did a fucking Tomodachi Life direct. I think they're gonna do game specific directs a lot more commonly.
Yeah, but
I think we're
they
gonna
ain't gonna
get
miss their opportunity to throw it in a standard general Nintendo Direct either, though. I mean,
I
that's
think
just
they'll.
more
Well,
stuff to
okay. Here's what
yeah.
I think. Splatoon Raiders will show up, but they'll be like, keep an eye for the next general Nintendo Direct, guys. It's coming. Okay.
How many? Well,
Or
hold on here.
not
But then that
general,
also
but like,
got me thinking though, like how many times would they actually, or if you could think back to the past, how many times had they showed off like a little thing like what you're describing and say, all right, tune into this direct later on, and done that for
they've
multiple
done it.
first party games? I don't think that has
At
happened
least
for
at least.
multiple.
All right. Well, Donkey Kong Bonanza got its own separate direct, and
Yep.
then Mario Kart World got a direct 2 weeks after it was revealed. It wasn't really that great of a direct, but still, it was a direct nonetheless. Um, they've been doing that recently. Tomodachi Life got a direct. There's probably another game I'm forgetting that got a direct. Kirby Air Riders got two of them. A lot of directs for games, and then you have Metroid Prime 4, which got nothing, but that's besides the point.
I feel like
Um,
I feel like maybe in this direct they'll do that like what you're talking about for one IP, but I don't think they're gonna do it for more than one. Like
Right.
if it were like let's say if a game comes out in October, they'll just hold on to that and wait until it gets like 1 month out and then just randomly announce,
Right.
oh, you had that
You know,
direct.
real quick, I'm gonna give you a lightning round of the entire direct Zard. Okay.
Oh shoot.
As I said, it's gonna start with Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Gonna reveal some gimmick. Gonna reveal how it's
Hold
a
up.
sequel to
One thing.
three.
Don't
Yeah.
say the
What's up?
very last, like the one last thing
Fine.
yet. We're gonna
Fine.
do that at
Fine.
the
Fine.
same
Fine.
time,
Fine.
but do everything else.
Okay. So I think that Fire Emblem Fortunes and Weave will start it. They'll tease some kind of big gimmick. They'll be like, stay tuned for more information. It's coming on September. Blah blah blah. The direct will probably come either later that month or like later in July, just giving the big blowout to get people ready for that September release, or maybe even August if they're spicy. I don't know, man. It's gonna, then it's gonna immediately jump into some DLC for games. I think Mario Kart World will finally get its first batch of DLC, and it will be specifically characters. You'll have some Donkey Kong Bonanza themed characters to celebrate that game's 1 year anniversary. Wink, wink, nudge, fucking nudge. Okay. Some Donkey Kong Bonanza content will be added to that game, especially because Donkey Kong has no costumes. Like it would make perfect sense to add a bunch of stuff for Donkey Kong and Pauline to celebrate that game's 1st year anniversary. And they'll be like, "Hey, more substantial content for Mario Kart World will be coming. It will be revealed later this year. So keep an eye out, guys. Stay tuned." Then they'll immediately drop into like indie games. They'll show third parties. You're gonna get some kind of reveal in the middle, which I'm gonna say is going to be a Nintendo port or like a remaster or some kind of old game that they're gonna soup up and put on modern consoles. What that is, I don't know. I'm gonna make the really fucking weird prediction that it's gonna be Super Paper Mario. Okay, don't question my logic. Okay, they're gonna take Super Paper Mario. They're gonna make it 4K. They're gonna make it 60 FPS. That's a pretty simple game to move over. They'll have mouse mode functionality for when you put that thing on the screen and scan stuff in the game. I think that type of game works perfectly for it. Maybe they'll even add some content, some more little bonus stuff connecting it to the other Paper Mario games. But like that's like a pretty simple like $40 re-release you could just chuck out there. Why not? New Paper Mario game probably isn't coming for a while. Or maybe, yeah, you can either that or like a new Paper Mario. Luigi's Mansion 4 will be revealed, and it will be coming later this year, and that will be like this year's holiday title. Okay,
Okay.
there, I said it. Well, like not, I don't know. It will be like the big major new release for this year. It will be like, wow, Luigi's Mansion 4, comes out. It will probably come out in October, obviously. Makes more than enough sense. Who knows what the game will be about, but I think it will be a major tech demo. Like this game is going to be touted as like the most beautiful Switch 2 game and can really show what the platform is capable of. And it will obviously be done by the same people that did 3. I think they're going to fully go back to Luigi's Mansion 1 in terms of design. One mansion, have more of a focus on horror. That's going to be the whole gimmick of the game, is that it's actually going to have scary monsters and stuff similar to like that Smash trailer for Castlevania. Imagine that, but like Luigi's Mansion. I think that would be a really interesting way to go about it. Um, then they're gonna do their indie reels again. They'll show GameCube games like we were talking about earlier. They're gonna show a whole new slew of GameCube games. I'll ask your opinion on this. Do you think we're gonna get some kind of new NSO platform, like
Heck no.
for regular
Heck no.
subscribers, DS? I don't
Heck
know.
no.
You don't
No,
think
you
so?
saved that mess for September directs.
Fine, I guess fair enough. Fair enough. Either way, yeah, I don't know because it's difficult. I do think that those leaks were real. I forget. There was a thing about a Xenoblade 2 Definitive Edition, which that
Hmm.
was leaked a while ago by Nate the Hate, and I really hope that one's real. I really do. Um, we'll
I
see
don't
though.
think that was more so leak, more like his prediction, but okay.
Okay, do you have anything else for like? smaller releases that you'd like to say in the direct before we get
Okay,
to the
so
main
I'll
stuff?
kind of almost run it just like you. I'm fully with you in terms like how you start off the tone with the direct. You don't do it with nothing kiddie-ish or whatever though. You start off with Fire Emblem Fortunes. Well, gosh dang it, you get these
Yeah.
people invested and stuff like that. That game looks beautiful from based off that first trailer and stuff like that. We might get them to actually kind of show off a little bit more like why Sothis is in this game, and it's either maybe we'll get a little bit more information on the game to where we can kind of figure out where it stands with the relationship with Three Houses, whether it's a prequel or a sequel. We'll figure out how that all kind of plays out though. But that's how they start off the direct. They start off strong and stuff like that. Obviously, you'll have some indies and you'll have some third party stuff kind of sprinkle in between the midst of all of this stuff though. I'm thinking the way how they will like do like the middle, like there's always like that big long a somewhat lengthy middle game. I'm thinking that next Souls game that's going to be exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2, I think that's going to show up in this direct, and it's probably going to be like right in the dead center of the direct.
I think it will show up. I also think it's gonna get delayed.
I mean, I don't obviously it's not coming out this year. I'm thinking it will probably
It was
come out next.
supposed to.
Oh,
It
okay,
was
okay.
supposed
Well,
to come out
okay.
this
Then
year.
then technically delayed. Not this year. Early half of like next year, probably February or March. That's what I'm gonna go ahead and say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
could see
honestly,
that.
we will have to have that Nintendo Direct to show up this month, no matter what. If that game was planning to come out in the second half of this year anyway, they want to have a little bit more of a runtime with that. So yeah, I think that will show up in this show in some kind of capacity. Um, I think, and it's kind of funny how you had to mention anything with Capcom. I think Capcom was show, even though yes they came out with Monster Hunter Stories 3, Monster Hunter, no, Monster Hunter Stories 3, Resident Evil 9, and Pragmata. All three of those hit early on this year though, but they'll probably kind of give us an idea of what to kind of expect for the future. I just don't know what they will announce, but I think it will be in a Nintendo Direct. Notice how I didn't say anything with that in any of the other gaming presentations though, but I feel like it will show up in the Nintendo Direct. What that will be, I have no stinking idea though. But then also Square Enix. Square Enix also likes to show up and do some stuff like that. Will Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Dog, when does that game come out? Is that
Final Fantasy VII: Rebirth.
yeah, for the Switch too?
Uh, June something. I think early June.
I have to look this mess up.
I'm pretty
Oh no,
sure
June.
it's
Oh no,
early
yeah,
June.
it's literally coming out this week, June 3rd, literally on Wednesday. So yeah, in the midst of all of these gaming shows. So by the time this direct probably airs, it'll probably already be out. Um, I already said maybe that part 3 will get announced in the Summer Game Fest thing though. So I'm thinking maybe Square Enix will do something and actually showcase off another something. Oh, here we go. This is what I was thinking of. Kingdom Hearts. They will announce native ports coming over to the system where you don't have to mess with the cloud streaming stuff anymore. And
That would make
then
sense.
right after all of that is this is bold. It's not going to show up in the State of Play or Summer Game Fest thing. They're going to show off Kingdom Hearts 4 and then the Nintendo Direct.
That's gonna be fucking stupid. I
That
don't
would
even.
that would be.
I think they'll say, "Hey, it's coming to Switch too," but I don't think they'll show it.
I think they will show it in the Nintendo Direct. I'm gonna be bold. They're gonna show it in the gosh
That's
dang stinking Nintendo Direct.
that's a fucking wacky prediction. I don't think
You
that's
gotta
gonna
have
happen.
some wackiness with this mess thing, or it ain't no
Fair
prediction
enough.
thing.
No, that's fine. I think Kingdom Hearts 4 is just not ready in general yet. But if it could show up, that would certainly be the funniest option. Uh, I have a question because I didn't mention it. Do you think any Switch 2 editions will be announced? I'm thinking Pikmin 4.
That is something. If there were any Switch 2 editions, I mean, yeah, you could have Pikmin 4.
That was
Honestly,
near
that's the
your
only one
niche
I could
one.
really think of, to be honest, because everything else has either already had it with either free updates or the paid stuff that we already kind of got, like with either like the Legend of Zelda games, both for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the stuff we have with Mario Party Jamboree and such like that, though. I mean, yes, you already have free updates for like Pikmin 3. Whether or not the Pikmin 4 thing will be paid or free, I don't know.
I think the Pikmin 4 thing will be a full $20 upgrade, new content and everything.
Oh.
Pikmin 5, come on, Pikmin 5's not going to be for a while. You might as
It'll
well
be
just...
it'll be an Eon. Like if you're lucky to get Pikmin 5, it'll be at the end of this console life. The way how they
That's
be
what I'm
running their
saying.
stuff.
So, like, at this point, you might as well just get some Pikmin 4 shit out.
Okay, yeah, that's doable. That's doable.
Paper Mario Thousand Year Door needs one. Like, I need 60 FPS in that remake. It's already beautiful. Just make it 60 FPS.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think we'll still get DLC and stuff for Mario Kart World.
Do you agree with me
Whether or
about
not
the
it was
Bonanza 1-year anniversary thing?
no, I don't think they're gonna add anything extra for Bonanza. They already did the Emerald Rush stuff. I just don't see them doing anything else.
No,
with the game.
I mean for Mario Kart World, like doing the Donkey
Oh,
Kong stuff for the anniversary of Bonanza, like adding new costumes for DK Pauline and some new characters.
I mean, yeah, that would be included with the DLC. I feel like that's what they'll do. They might throw in some extra characters. If you know, you know. Maybe it'll be kind of bold for them to still do it though, but it'll be nice. Whatever though.
Especially because some of those credits in the Mario Kart World credits are for Donkey Kong Bonanza voice actors. Still kind of weird, Nintendo.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we'll get something DLC with some tracks, or basically they might lay out the roadmap. Who knows if this is like another, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in terms of like, hey, here we got like 8 different cups coming with like 4 courses each, and they're gonna be released at like a couple of cups at a time. I mean, they might lay all of that out. So then Mario Kart World, they were selling it for like a solid year, just straight by loan. I mean, shoot, we ought to still get 200cc up in this mug, though. I don't think they'll wait too long on that. Maybe do some more robust stuff with the battle mode and such. So I'm hoping that they do something.
200cc plus some like new stuff, like a new. I want the ability to make my own knockout tour, string along whatever levels I want. I thought that was the whole point of adding every intermission.
I guess you can do that within reason, but I guess it has to like flow in a certain way. As long as you can make it flow in a certain way. They literally have
intermissions for everything. They made an intermission going from every single track to every other track.
I'm just thinking, like, imagine if you were trying to make a. Oh well, no, I get well. No, I guess it should work. Never mind, it should work. It should work.
Yeah,
I mean, you want to be able to include some combination of some courses might not just not work due to the distance and the direction you have to travel. But
even if it's just the ones that are made, even if it's just Toad's Factory to the one next to Toad's Factory, I want to be able to make like a circle one, or like make it so it's like all the way from the top of the map to the bottom of the map. Just let me make my own, so I can like actually have some fun with it.
No, yeah, that'll be interesting. So yeah, I think they'll do something maybe with Mario Kart World. In terms of other stuff, like with some other IPs and such that they might mess around with, I think we'll get something Kirby showing up in here because I know we had Forgotten Land with DLC and stuff in the previous year though, but I think it's about time they'll show the next thing. Maybe it'll be Planet Robobot or something like that, something weird. I don't think it's gonna be a brand new one. It's gonna be something based on an older one.
That very well could be like that August game. Just throw something out, something old, instead of that Super Paper Mario Wild prediction I made. Either way, like, yeah, Kirby, something will happen. I don't think it's going to be the new game yet, because Kirby Star Cross World just came out last year. Who knows, though? We will see. Kirby's obviously not too far behind, considering Forgotten Land was 2022 now.
Mm-hmm. And then also, I'll say, I think we'll get some news on NSO updates. No new consoles like what we were talking about earlier. Like they ain't gonna add like Wii or DS. No, that's way too early for that. Probably you have to wait another 2 or 3 more years before something like that happens. But I think they'll hit you with the next GameCube game. Like they'll go ahead and say something for that. They might give you yeah, this will be the time to do it. They'll probably give you Sunshine. Watch. The moment I say this now, that's when it actually legit happens. You'll probably get something for that. I'll be bold. You'll also get a 64 game as well. That's saying something. I announcing it this early though, considering that not Bonanza, Donkey Kong 64 would just came out though. They might say something about Smash Bros. 64. Maybe they're waiting to do a big old fat general Nintendo Direct. If it's not now, it'll be the September Direct later on or whatever though. And maybe they'll hit us up for just basic NSO stuff. So like if you got the basic tier, I'm thinking they'll probably. It's been a while since they gave us like actual legit Game Boy games or whatever though. And shoot, by that logic, even Game Boy Advance, they'll probably give us a couple of games on one or the other. I don't know what they would choose though, because Game Boy Advance is weird with first party Nintendo games.
I don't really think there's any more they even have to do. Like, I don't know. Fucking
I mean,
Pokemon Pinball, Ruby and Sapphire. I don't fucking know. Mario Pinball Land.
yeah, it's
Just
kind of
just some
tough.
stupid random ones. Anything else? What do you think will be the new games that get revealed besides the one last thing?
Um, I'm kind of with you. Maybe Luigi's Mansion 4. I'm kind of feeling the same way because I feel like next level games will probably do something like that. Oh shoot! And then I thought of something really interesting. I
What is
think
it?
it's about time for it, but I don't think it's gonna be the one more thing. But it really could be the one more
Just
thing.
say it. Just say
Shoot!
it.
If it doesn't happen in this show, it's gonna happen in the September Direct. We'll see Monolith Soft's next game.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I also think that the Xenoblade 2 Definitive Edition, if it's real,
Because
could tease their next
whatever
game.
game that would be something that you end the Nintendo Direct off. And if there's not enough room in the June Nintendo Direct, it will happen in the fall one.
And you want to know what I hate to say? I think we're just going down the two directs a year. I think we're gonna get September's and we're gonna get June's, and that's it. I
That's
think
kind
we're
of
done
crazy because
getting
between June and
February's.
September, there's not a lot of time. I mean, that's not a lot of gap time, really. That's only 3 months. It really
Well,
needs to still be three. I think it's just kind of weird the way how they
they've
didn't
been
have
doing
a
Twitter
February
shit.
one.
They've been doing Twitter
Uh,
drops. So like, I don't know. Well, Caesar, um, it's difficult. Are we ready for that one more thing? It's getting a little late. I'm sorry. I'm trying to
yeah,
we gotta
I
wrap it
think
up.
on one more thing might be the same thing because it's based on the rumors and leaks and stuff like
It's
that.
not.
No, I think the one more. Oh, yours is not that. Okay, I think the one last thing they'll do, which it's going to take a lot of wind out of the sales for a lot of people though, but I think it's just inevitable because you got to have that holiday title. I think that's when the Ocarina of Time remake pops up. That's how you will end off the show.
So I have a wild prediction. Okay. So here's my prediction. All right. I think whoever is in charge of Nintendo, whatever, I think it will probably be like one of the main like people that like presents at Nintendo is gonna come up on stage and be like, "Hey, as you may have heard recently, we have had to make some price adjustments for Nintendo Switch 2 recently. You know, we apologize. They're gonna do what they did on Twitter, basically. We apologize for the rising costs and like further delay of any, this and that. You know, as a sort of, as like to make it up to you guys, we are going to reveal some projects early just so you know what's coming for Nintendo Switch 2. I think they're going to show Ocarina of Time 3D that's going to be revealed for a early October or maybe even just late November or like early November game. It's going to fit somewhere at the end of the year. I don't know. And then I think they're going to be like, hey, that is everything we have for 2026. Here's one last announcement for a game that will be coming in 2027. And I think it will be 3D Mario. I think it's going to be either 3D Mario or Smash. I feel like they need to announce some fucking big game just to get people like
I feel
just to
like
get
you're
they
not
just
off the
no.
mark. You're not off the mark with
They
that.
need to just get
Mm.
the info out there. They just need to confirm it. They don't need
Well,
to show
I
anything.
will say this: if Smash Brothers were to come out in 2027, then that could truly be the true ender of what will be like this Nintendo Direct here in June. If a 3D
Yeah.
Mario were to come out next year, I think you would stick that in the September Direct. Spread it out a little
Yeah,
bit though,
probably. Because
but you're
think
not
about
off
it.
the mark. You're not off the
Think
mark
about
on
the
this.
fucking bombshell. Even if like Nintendo could literally announce nothing for the next 6 months, and people would just be fucking shit throwing shit around about Smash.
Oh yeah, no, the
Like
Smash
for
speculation that be strong,
and I can't
especially
and I
if it's a
genuinely can't wait for
reboot
it.
of
I
some
want that
kind. Like it's
again.
not going to be like Ultimate with that many characters. Like you cut the roster down in half. Obviously, your main staples like your Mario's, your Samuses, and stuff like that, they stay. Like basically your N64 roster stays, but then everybody else is up for fair game. So then people are going to play the who stays, who goes, and then
Yeah.
all your newcomers that could potentially
Just
get announced. And if you're talking about new movesets changing, yeah, that's a lot of speculation going on.
just start the trailer, make it or even better idea. Start the trailer, make it look like 3D Mario, and then it turns into Smash.
Oh, dog. You got
Fucking
that would
no,
be a knee
honestly,
jerk
that would be
direction. It'll be like
hilarious. That
oh,
would be
wait, what?
that would
Holy shoot. Kind of.
that would be fucking hilarious. It looks like it's gonna be the 3D
You're
Mario
going to have
game, and
Kyle
then
upset, man.
all right, well, guess what? It's gonna turn into Smash, okay? And then it's gonna say Super Smash Brothers, late 2027. Director fades to black. Masahiro Sakurai.
You know what? Okay, so you did bring something into play with the fact
Yeah,
that you ended off with two more or one more things. Like
I
Nintendo has
think,
done that before. So if
but
that were to be the case, I would say yes, the Ocarina of Time remake will be the first part of it. But then truly the last one, if I were to take a shot, it wouldn't be Smash Brothers. And it wouldn't be what was the other one?
I
3D
think it's
Mario.
either 3D Mario or
My
Smash. I think it's
prediction would be something different.
what
Hear
I just
this
think
out.
one of those will be fucking mentioned. Nintendo has said that they're gonna make it a point to announce games coming up to kind of make up for this because they probably know their bottom line is fucked once that price increase goes out unless they have some killer holiday titles. The Switch 2 already didn't do good last holiday. I personally think it makes enough sense. And like even then, Zard, even if it's the only thing, tell me if I'm wrong here. The only thing that makes me think otherwise is that announcing a big game right after Ocarina of Time remake might like you might be able to make the argument that it might overshadow it, but at the same time, it's Ocarina of Time. I don't think it would be overshadowed anyways, especially because it's an older game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you show off Ocarina of Time, people already know Ocarina of Time, so you're not really overshadowing that by showing a new game afterwards. I think it would be kind of fucking boring if they end it with a remake, even if it is a Zelda remake. Like, we've gotten directs that ended with Zelda remakes before, with the fucking Link's Awakening remake. And, like, I don't know, don't do it again.
No, all right. So I'm thinking two part. The first part of it will be the remake of Ocarina of Time, and it's gonna
Yeah.
be pretty big and it's gonna be pretty bombastic though. And then after that, then they're like, all right, we got one more thing, but this one's gonna be like what you said. It's gonna come out in 2027, so you're gonna have to wait on it just a little bit of time now. But with something as high and mighty as Ocarina of Time, you wouldn't have something else super strong with that would kind of compete with it like a Mario or Smash Brothers. So my pie in the sky, if that were to be the
Yeah.
case, and you had one more things, it starts off dark,
Yeah.
and then you see blue skies, you see clouds, and then you,
Fucking F-Zero.
and then you look over the ocean surface and stuff, and you see that, and then you see lands and stuff, and then you see some fighting on the streets and stuff like that. We're talking about like old swords and stuff like that, kind of in like a Greekish kind of world or whatever, though. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden, you see the swoop down from the sky, and you see angelic wings. It's my boy Kid Icarus, not a remake, a brand new game, a brand
But
new
that
game.
if it is a brand new Kid Icarus game, then Smash absolutely would not be directed by Sakurai because I don't see any way a new Kid Icarus game happens without Sakurai.
Man,
I see absolutely no way he doesn't make the next Kid Icarus game,
it
and
was
also
either
I don't
that
think
it was either that, and if that doesn't happen, then the other thing is a brand new Golden Sun game, like an
that's
RPG, like an
but those are
RPG.
not that's not how you close a direct. That's how you open a direct. And if we both agree that Fire Emblem most likely will open the direct. So like I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like they'll
There
do something. Either
there
that, or maybe they'll
there is
switch around the orders. Maybe you do one of those two games I mentioned about
right.
Kid Icarus or Golden Sun first, then you end it with Ocarina of Time. You
Uh
do something weird like that.
So what do you like? You think it would be that? You think it will be Ocarina of Time, and then it will be a smaller game after that? Because I feel
Basic,
like it would
either
be the
that or you
opposite.
flip the order around, one or the
Yeah,
other.
yeah. So like, I will make one small adjustment. I think you could either end it with Luigi's Mansion 4 and have them both be games releasing that year, or you can also be like, hey, Luigi's Mansion 4, you could have Luigi's Mansion 4 open the direct. You could have Fire Emblem in the middle, and then they go on like a 5 minute tangent about Fire Emblem, especially because it's a game that's already revealed. Luigi's Mansion 4 open, Fire Emblem in the middle, and then have your Ocarina of Time and your big fucking 2027 game at the end. You could shuffle it around like that. I think Nintendo would be so fucking stupid if they don't announce something for 2027 here. Like
Yeah, they could,
Ocarina
because
of Time
typically
remake.
they like to save some of that stuff for
I mean,
September, but they
yeah,
may, if they could think it, if they think they can get it out within the first 6 months of next year. Because right now we don't know anything for what will be in the 2027 slot whatsoever.
yeah.
Usually they kind
Because
of save that stuff for the September direct. Then maybe
we
they'll do
already
it.
know the holiday title for 2027. It's gonna be Wind and
Well,
Waves, but like,
that's the only really truly only thing. But yeah,
yeah, but like at the same time, like I don't know, theoretically, I can't think of any years where like, you know, 3D Mario happened at the same time as a Pokemon game. They usually keep their really, really big releases far away from each other. Pokemon's gonna be something that people talk about for like that whole month. You know
well,
what I
I
mean?
mean, the closest it might have been would have been, and it's not like a brand new generation, but if you rewind the clock all the way back to 2017, when they had Mario Odyssey come out in October, and then in November you had Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon come out. But then
Yeah.
again, that was almost on two different
So,
systems, the Switch and the
uh,
3DS.
yeah.
But yeah,
I've been going on forever, so I'm gonna end it here. I know this is a big showcase because we're talking about a lot of predictions. I think that's fair. Um, this is E3 time basically at this point. I think 3D Mario is going to be revealed either here or in the September Direct. There is no way we go through the entirety of 2026 and that game doesn't show a fucking lick of Mario's hat. Like, we're going to see it, okay? And I think it's going to be a early to mid 2027 because they're going to keep that as far away from fucking winds and waves as possible. That's not really unheard of because they literally just did Donkey Kong Bonanza in July. So have the new 3D Mario be like a March game. Maybe even just release it on March 10th or something. I don't know. And then have like maybe announce if they announced Mario in September, then announce Smash here and have Smash be like way later 2027 and still have Winds and Waves in like October or November. I don't know. Winds and Waves is kind of what you got to work around when you talk about 2027 because I don't think Pokemon Company can afford to delay that game any further. You know what I mean? Like
I mean,
that
you
game,
say delay. I mean, it
every
hasn't really been, or at least not
it
a
was it
out there
was
delay. I mean, it could be
yeah, it was
internally from
most
what they might.
definitely. And then Pokopia was supposed to be part of Gen 10, and then that got separated. Which Pokopia is most likely getting DLC, but Nintendo, like Pokemon Company, will reveal that on their own terms. Um, I don't know, man. I just genuinely don't see how we can go through this year without some big 2027 title being revealed. Because a lot of people are being negative about Nintendo right now. It's a lot of, oh my god, we're getting Star Fox 64 again. Oh my god, we're most likely getting Mario, we're most likely getting Ocarina of Time again. Oh my god, the price increase. Like, especially with how Nintendo's kind of been releasing games that are like mixed recently, like it's a lot of niche games. It's a lot of 7 out of 10s. I just want Nintendo to reveal some cool shit.
No, yeah. So I think we'll get some cool stuff coming. And looking at all of the stuff, I'm really hoping maybe if we're lucky, we'll get that Nintendo Direct within the next 2 weeks. That's my hope. But
I've seen people
we
saying
will
it's gonna
see.
happen on June 4th. No, it's not.
Oh
Shut up.
dear, no, heck
It's
no.
not.
The earliest
It is
would be
not
Tuesday.
happening this
The,
week.
the earliest, and I'm looking at my calendar right now. The earliest it'll be after everybody else goes. It'll
Yeah.
be like on the 9th will be the earliest. And then after that point onward, you're really in direct hunting territory. I'll be generally shook down to my core if Nintendo decided I wanted to go on June the 4th, which will be right before the Summer Game Fest, and it'll still be before Xbox. That'd be crazy because they always like to be kind of isolated to themselves, even during the E3 time. They always chose the very last slot. Um, but yeah, so I'm looking at all the different shows. We're gonna have some really good, fun gaming stuff to talk about. At least by the next podcast, it's gonna be a chock full one going through all of this stuff. Though I'll probably have some like random videos, maybe talking about different shows along the way. Though, I'm just kind of looking at everything. Unfortunately, I can't see the state of play, and I can't see Summer Game Fest live. At least at the moment, though, unfortunately, with the way how the time zones and stuff work.
I
However,
swear.
I can watch. We didn't even mention Future Games Show. That one airs
No,
out on
fucking
Saturday. I
cares.
don't really think anything gets shown off of that one. But Xbox Games Showcase, that one I can actually watch live with you, Steven, on that Sunday because that one airs at like noon my time, 1 your time. So that'll be the only one we can
I'll be
actually
in
watch it.
work.
Oh, you're dang. Well, okay. I guess we flip. You see State of Play live. I see Xbox live. Oh,
Yeah,
dog.
who knows? Yeah, who maybe I'll be able to just ask them, hey, can I leave early? But at the same time, maybe it's not that big of a deal. I don't know what I'm gonna do about the Nintendo Direct though. We will see once that day comes. Hopefully they announce it. Hopefully, like some like reputable leaker comes out and announces what day it's gonna be, so I can
The
request
only
off.
closest one that would be Nate the Hate, and I doubt he will even say that to us, considering how we've been treating, or not we, these people been treating that man. So I don't
Well,
know.
to be fair, he's been inconsistent. Fucking said that 3D Mario was coming 2026. He robbed me. All right, but that's enough of that.
All right, well, I think that's pretty much all we had to talk about in this chock full episode of predictions and everything else we had up in between this thing though. So yeah, it's been a really fun little episode for us to do on this one though. So Steven, let the fine people know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at StephenJr1231.
Alrighty, and with that, that's going to truly do it in terms of my ZardCast episode 133 though. So if you really like this video, make sure you're going to hit that like button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing, including anything else with my future podcast episodes. Look, we're in prime time now for everything gaming related with all these different showcases and stuff. We're probably going to get some really cool announcements, probably get some pop off on that action and stuff like that. So keep an eye on the channel. You never know what I'm going to happen to throw out there in terms of discussions and everything else in between in terms of all the different gaming news updates and stuff though. So definitely keep your eyes on the next podcast episode 134, which will happen roughly in about a couple of weeks from now. Same place, same time, same people, same everything though. So yeah, if you happen to be listening to this on one of my podcast only platforms such as Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, yes, you can listen to me here in the car. Feel free to leave a short little review on that. Let people know, hey, we're just a couple of dudes that love to talk about everything pop culture, gaming related stuff, Marvel, and everything else in between though. But that's truly gonna do it in terms of this one episode though. So remember y'all, until that video I make next, until my next ZardCast episode, that being episode 134. I'll see y'all later.